I'm on vacation and I wasn't planning on recording today, but this dropped, so we're gonna get into it. And again, disclaimer, this is my little travel setup. All I have is my phone, a mini iPad, and a small little pocket camera to record with. This situation is about a Vtuber who is known for giving models away in the community, and a lot in the last 24 hours has come out about this Vtuber, so we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to break this down based on the situation that's happened. The very first situation involves this Twitter user. So their original username was Ketzny with 2 I, so Ketzii. They literally just rebranded to Mousy. They did it, I think, within the last 10 minutes because I swear to God, when I opened these tweets up like 10 minutes ago, they went by a different name. So if it sounds confusing, if people are talking about a creator by the name of Ketz or Ketzny, this is also Mao. It's the same person. But Mao on March 14th made a post writing, "Dear Needy VT, you bought my model for $2,000, which I was okay with. The issue stems from you charging the original $4,000 that you didn't pay for. You charged the buyer the original $4,000 price I was asking for, plus an extra $1,000 for add-ons you did. I have no issue with you charging extra for add-ons, but I do have an issue with you charging the original $4,000 that you did not pay for." So the first screenshot is payment proof from Needy, who also goes by Juliet, to, again, you see that name Ketzny and Mao are the same person, but they paid $2,100 and they added a $100 tip to help cover tax and fees and things like that. And then this is the redacted user who writes, "The original price was $4,000, so I was selling it for the original price. Plus, I had some art made and was gonna rig the other model in the folder." So this looks like potentially a message from Needy or Juliet to the buyer stating, "Oh, the original price was $4,000, so I am selling it for the original price of $4,000. And then I added extra for stuff that I've had." Mao or Ketzny writes, "If you had charged the $2,000 that you paid for plus an extra $1,000 for your add-ons, that would have been fine. But that's not what you did. You claimed I said it was okay, but I did not agree to you charging more than what it's worth without the add-ons being of that price. This DM of you asking if you could charge more was right after you started adding things on. Because, like I said, I don't have an issue with you charging for add-ons. I did not in any way think it was okay to charge extra for what you didn't pay for that the add-ons do not equal to." And here, these are DMs between Juliet or Needy and Ketzny or Mao. I know it's very confusing because of the names. But Needy writes, "1. I'll need to know the artist and rigger name to give credit to so I can read their TOS to know what I'm allowed to do with the model. So if I resell it or maybe even host a huge giveaway for it. 2. I will get full ownership of the design, yes. It can never be reclaimed by anyone else. 3. How do you take payment? I'll either host a big giveaway for it or I'll hire some more artists to make things for it. Get some animated stuff done and a fan art event and sell it for a bit more. I just want to make sure either option would be okay." And the person responds, "Aw, Julie, that's so sweet. I'll type up all the info for you on my PC and send it over." Mao or Ketzny writes, "Neither myself nor the person who bought from you is okay with this. I tried getting help from the artist and manager of said artist, but unfortunately they couldn't help. They did, however, advise me to take it up with you and you decided that you saw no problem with what you did." And then a user by the name of Kiwi writes, "Do you have screenshots of how Needy reacted to you bringing it up?" Mao says, "Yes, I do." Mao or Ketzny writes, "Hey, there's something I need to speak with you on that topic." And Needy says, "I'm listening." And they write, "Sterling, who ended up getting the model, told me you charge $4,000 plus the additional amount for your add-ons. Now, the additional $1,000 for the add-on is totally fine. However, it's unfair for you to have charged her the original price of $4,000 since you only paid $2,000 for that. That's unfortunately still charging more than what you paid for. It was fine in terms of charging for add-ons. Never did I think it was okay to include the original price in the charge because you didn't pay for that. Now, if you charged $2,000 since that's what you paid, plus the additional fees for the add-ons you gave, that would have been okay." And Needy says, "I can understand that definitely, but I was upfront that I would be selling her for more and the artist is okay with what I did. I had no intentions of keeping the model for myself. I just bought her to send some funds your way and help you. And I even mentioned I'd do so again in the future after my trip. I'm still very willing to do so. I never would have touched the model if not for the intention to help you out a little. I was upfront with it being a lowball that I would understand if you didn't want to, but you said the discount was fine, and you said me selling her for more is fine." Ketzny or Mal writes, "I said I was fine under the assumption it would only be charged for the add-ons. The artist and manager said they couldn't help with the situation, but that I needed to take it up with you." And then Needy writes, "I can't help what you assumed. I was very open and transparent about my intentions. I'm sorry to disappoint you." So I'm gonna be honest, when I read the messages, at least this paragraph in specific, where it says, I will either host a big giveaway or I will go hire some more artists to make things for it, get some animated stuff done in a fan art event and sell it for a bit more. I want to make sure either option will be okay. I don't know about you guys and what tax bracket you guys operate in, but for me, a bit is not $1,000. If you say, I'm going to sell it for a bit more, I think maybe like 100, 200. I don't think a grand. That's just me though. But I would say, secondly, the way I read this message, I would have interpreted it as she's selling it a bit more to cover the additional costs. You know what I mean? Not pay $2,000 for the model, charge $4,000 for the model, which is double the price, and then also charge an extra $1,000 for the add-on. You know, like that makes the a bit more actually, I did the math wrong. That makes the a bit more actually $3,000. That is a lot more. You know what I mean? So I think, at least for me reading this, the verbiage of a bit more for me reads disingenuous because a bit is not double the amount that you paid for. If you bought something from me for like $1,000 and you say, oh, I'm gonna resell it, is it okay if I resell it for a little bit more? I would assume you're selling it for like $1,200, not $3,000. So for me, I just don't personally appreciate the language that's kind of used here, being like, I can't help what you assumed. I was very open and transparent. Like, yes, you were transparent that you were intending to resell it. You did bring that up as an option. That is good that you at least mentioned it. But when you do use the verbiage of a bit more, it does imply that it's a lot less than what you resold it for. When you also say like, oh, I'm going to sell it a bit more right after you talk about looking to get more work and more artwork made, it reads as if the, you know, because of English sentence structure, right? The sentence that comes right after it seems like it is referencing the sentence right before it, or the phrase right before it. So because you said, I'm gonna get some art and stuff done, and then I will sell it for a bit more, it looks like the way it is lined up, it is implying that because of the art, you will sell it a bit more to cover the artwork. That is how, at least for me, I would read it. What do I know? I'm not an English major. I just read a lot of romance books and smut. But that's how I would interpret the verbiage. So I don't appreciate the wording of you interpreted this wrong. So Axipalm responds, this behavior when it comes to reselling and changing up or hiding information makes me sick. Transparency is important and I'm so sorry this happened to you. I'm adding another red flag as to why to not do business with her. And Mao or Ketsney writes, I'm really hurt and I feel like I was taken advantage of. Also, some people were confused. So here, Mao or Ketsney clarified, it appears some people are confused. So let me clarify, I am not the artist of the model. I am the original owner she bought it from. So this situation was also a little bit confusing because the model and the design had changed hands a couple of times. So I was a little bit confused following along with it. But from my understanding, the artwork was made by a studio, and then the studio sold it to a creator who then sold it to Mao, who then sold it to Needy, and then now the person by the name of Sterling has it. So that's what it seems like has been the timeline of how this transpired, and this will be relevant in a second. So another user by the name of Neko writes, I had to block her too. We were mutuals and I knew something was off about them. I am so sorry you're going through this. And Mal writes, I'm in tears. She's literally trashing me on stream and asking why I'm not getting hated on. And Neko says, what? That's not acceptable. I'm so sorry, Ketsney. So what stream is being referenced by this statement? Well, we have Twitter user Sleepy Sunny who's grabbed some screenshots for us.
Mostly, I'm just so bumfuzzled why I'm getting attacked and not the original owner who sold it to me and told me I have permission to sell it for higher, and who still owes the previous owner money. Why is she not being attacked? Why is she being quote retweeted and taken up for, and I'm being quote retweeted and called a bitch and a It doesn't make sense to me. She sold it to me and then told me I could resell it for more. I in the wrong. And then when they said, hey, you can't do this, I said, oh shit, really? Let me reach out to the artist ASAP. And I did. And the artist said, thank you for reaching out. You're good. I'm so sorry for all the inconvenience. All is well. You're good, girl. Do your thing.
So there's a lot to unpack there. The whole tiger design fiasco is because the original owner, the first person who had the model, from my understanding, right, the artist has that VTuber linked as the person who has got the commission, so that's why I feel like they're the original owner, right? And then somehow maybe they sold it to Ketsney or something, who is now named Mao. It seems like Mao did not fully pay the original owner for the design. What I seem to believe is the original owner goes by the name of Anna, so that's what I'll be calling them that. But the artist has Anna linked in their card as being the person with the design, so that's as I interpret that. But it seems like Mao did not fully pay Anna for the design. And because of that, Mao technically, legally, from my understanding of the law, at least in the US, cannot sell that design because they don't actually fully own it because they haven't paid it off yet. You know, I mean, there could be some like weird middle area where like you retain ownership, but then like if somebody pays for it, then you can pay the original owner, then it becomes yours, and then you sold it to the other person, and it kind of goes like that. You know, like with homes, right? You technically own the home if you buy it with a mortgage, right? With a loan that you've gotten from the bank. But you pay the bank off for the loan, but you can sell the home and the loan alongside it to somebody else. Maybe it's something like that, right? But it is a weird middle ground where like technically you don't like really fully own the design depending on how this plays out. So for that model to then have been resold to Needy, is that allowed or not? I don't know. I am not a copyright lawyer. I'm not an attorney. It's just kind of interesting where how that plays out. I do understand Needy's thought process of like, wait, if they didn't fully pay for the model and they sold the model to me and they told me it's mine, now I'm confused. And I can kind of see how they arrived at their conclusion, right? Being like, hey, I DM'd them and I asked, is it okay for me to like upsell? And literally what she asked was, hey, you know, there's two options. One, I do a big giveaway. Two, I get some other art and stuff made for it and then I sell it for a little bit more. That's what she said, right? So in her brain, it's probably like, oh, you know, they sold the model to me. I paid $2,000 for this. They said I could sell it for more. So I did that, you know, I took the model and then I sold it for more and I got extra stuff made for it. How am I in the wrong? I can see how you think that, right? I can see how you get to that conclusion with this line of thinking. This is something that I think for me will play out a lot in these scenarios with Needy because we have a lot of stuff to cover because there seems to be a solid repeat of, well, they said it was okay, so I did it. And why are people mad? And I, again, can see how you got to that line of thinking, but you need to read the intention behind what they said okay to, and it's not always what you think it is. And I know that can be sometimes a little confusing, right? But when Mao aka Ketsny said yes to you either hosting a giveaway or getting some art and selling it for a little bit more, they didn't say yes to you selling it for an egregiously extra price, you know? But the other part of the stream,
I'm like, hey, am I allowed to buy this with intentions to rig up myself and resell? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I never sell it like for more than what the design costs. Ever, never. I add my model art and rigging combo onto it, and that's it. The only profit I make is literally my base rigging.
In this clip of the stream, Needy says that she never upsells the model for higher than the base price or like what she paid for it or the design price of it. I think this is also a little bit disingenuous because maybe she's technically not lying if you state like Mao originally was selling the design for $4,000, so Needy sold it for $4,000, but the reality is Needy bought it for $2,000. So when you say, oh, I never sell the design for more than the original price of the model, you're technically telling the truth, but you're also technically not, because that is not what you paid for. Like, that is technically the price of it. That is not the price you paid. So it just feels some type of way, you know, because this is a situation where you could technically say you've been honest, but you can also at the same time exclude key information that would change the opinion of people. And Mao had reiterated that in their thread. They were okay with you selling it for a little bit more, you know, like getting add-ons, charging $1,000 for the add-ons and selling it for a total bundle of $3,000. They were okay with that. They weren't okay with you selling it after you bought the model for $2,000, bundling everything together, selling it for $5,000. That was what they weren't okay with. So that is the distinction that I think Needy just missed in this scenario, and this will be something that, from looking into all the scenarios that plays out, Needy seems to miss a lot. I can like empathize with Needy a little bit because I'm like a very literal person. So if you tell me something like literally, I will interpret it just like this, black and white, you know, like story from my childhood. One time my dad got hella mad at me because he was like, put the sausage in the oven, right? So I took the sausage in the plastic wrap and put it in the oven, and I was like, why do you want me to do this? But okay, what he meant was for me to cook the sausage, but my brain literally interpreted his words verbatim what he meant. Put it in the oven, and that's exactly what I did. The intention behind it was cook the fucking sausage, okay? So I think this also is a little like neurodivergent thing, right? Where if you are neurodivergent, you sometimes end up interpreting things a little differently, right? Like reading between the lines might be a little harder for you. I'm diagnosed with ADHD. I'm not trying to say Needy's diagnosed with anything or neurodivergent. I don't know. But, Some people do have that line of thinking, so I do want to be empathetic. But you do have to recognize that, hey, if you are the type of person that tends to do this, okay, that you tend to take things literally, do a double check after somebody tells you something. Do a little double check in your head, like, hey, what was their intention behind why they told me this, and how can I honor the intention? So again, with Mao's yes was yes to you upselling it, okay? It was not, again, for you to make egregious profit on the upsell. It was for, oh, if you bought extra stuff, yeah, it's fine that you upsell it a little bit more to cover the cost of what you bought, not to make double profit on the thing you bought. You know what I mean? That was the intention behind the yes, you can upsell. So while you may interpret the words literally and be like, yeah, she said I could upsell it, it doesn't mean you could take a $2,000 design and sell it for like $15,000 if they said you could make a profit. That you would still look like an asshole if you did that. Oh, I apologize for the astronomically bad lighting. I got home really late because, again, I had like a 9-hour drive. So the sun set. And then here's what some other commenters had to say. So Ambi writes, I got blocked by her for bringing this up. She said she was going to read the TOS of the artist, but she obviously didn't do that. I just don't see how she thought it was okay to make $3,000 in profit and take advantage of the discount you gave. And Mao or Ketsny adds, I gave that discount because I was in a desperate situation. I feel taken advantage of. And Ambi says, I know. I'm so sorry, Kets. I just don't know what went through her head thinking, I'll make a $3,000 profit for my trip while you literally were in need of money for medical expenses. I just don't get it. And Nines adds, I saw somewhere it was mentioned that because she had seen the model had swapped owners before that, she didn't think she needed to ask. How could she possibly know what conversations or deals took place? To me, that was so asinine. Like, just casually disregard even looking at the TOS because the model had already been swapped is insane. And Arisaria adds, it's not her responsibility to know the TOS of the model in question. It's the seller's responsibility. And the fact that apparently money was still owed previously, how exactly is she at blame for that? This situation is just shit on all sides. And Mao adds, I knew the TOS and it stated you needed permission to sell it. She did not have permission. She asked me for the @ of the artist so she herself could check the TOS and ask them about perms, but she did not do that. When you sell something you buy, you should always make sure you check the TOS of the artist to make sure it's okay. And this is in reference to reselling the model. These are some more clips that people have grabbed out of Needy Stream. This is a user by the name of Carter writing, 7 hours of Needy Stream in 4 minutes. Covers about almost everything. Can't believe people like this are still being defended.
I'm just gonna keep blocking everybody. I know that makes them really mad. I'm just gonna keep blocking them. I thought I had permission to sell it because she told me I did. So I just didn't know that. And then when I figured it out, I did everything in my power to make it better. Contacted the artist immediately. The artist said that she was grateful for how fast that I handled it. She wrote that publicly on the thing. She said she was grateful for how fast that I handled it. And all is well. But then they keep making posts. How am I an abuser? It's like they haven't seen all the good shit that I do for artists. Without food, and you do see me begging for money a lot because every bit of money that I make from Twitch or from rigging, I put it into giveaways. I put it into models to give away to people. And despite all the kind things that I have done and all the artists that I have uplifted, because I make a mistake, they're trying to cancel me. Yes, as well there. But yeah, I am scummy for reselling it double the price. All you really need to do is just block me. You don't need to like make me, cancel me and make me homeless.
The original owner, from my understanding of it, seemed to have sold the model to pay for medical expenses. They wanted $4,000 for the model. They needed the money quickly, right? So it seemed like most of the interest for the full $4,000 were like payment plans, right? And then here comes along a big VTuber who was like, oh, I could pay in full because I know you need the money. I'll pay you $2,000 though. Like, is that okay? I know it's a low ball. If you can't do that, that's totally fine. It seems like it's like a nice offer, but also if somebody is like desperate for money and you're offering them $2,000 up front, half the price of what they were selling it for, but you can offer it up front. Sometimes people are strong-armed into saying yes when they don't necessarily think it's the best deal they could get, because it's like, oh, well, I need the money right now, so, and you're the only person offering like up front, so I'll take it, right? Thank you for giving it to me up front so I can pay off whatever I need to pay off. And then it must feel like shit to see that person turn around and then sell the model for $4,000 base, $5,000 including add-ons, when you really needed that $4,000 and you really needed the $4,000 to pay for medical bills and stuff, and you couldn't find a buyer for $4,000, but they sold it for $5,000, you know. And I'm not faulting the person who bought it. Also, this is not flame on them, because likely like people who are buying the models and stuff had probably no idea, right? Like I was seeing them pop up on my feed all the time and I did not know about any of this. I'm gonna be real. I'm not like chronically online, so I just see what comes up and I'm like, cool, right? So it must feel like shit. I feel so fucking bad for Mal. And then people are asking other questions. So Finny asks, wasn't the model already rigged? What's up with charging extra for rigging? And Mao says she said she wanted to rig it herself to put her own name on it. And Finny says, bro, what? That sounds so much more horrible now. I'm so sorry this happened to you. And another person by the name of Minty Manaquest writes, she does this a lot. I did a lot of stuff for her for free at her request, then found out I spent lots of hours on art that was just a placeholder till the artist she paid finished what she wanted. She doesn't treat artists right. And Mao says, OMG, that's so gross. And Minty writes, she offered once to pay me on one thing and I just asked for $5. She was like, oops, sorry, you need to wait because I just paid an artist. After I asked for just $5, she never asked me for art again. I've been seeing so much drama with her and her artist. I just blacklisted her. And then Mao adds, thanks to a very kind person, I have a screenshot of Needy confessing to flipping models and designs to make profit. This was posted March 5th, 2025, so only 9 days ago. And Needy writes, if you're wondering why I'm buying so many adopts when I'm so low on funds, it's because I'm trying very hard to sell them as adopts with my rigging fee added to make profit. I swear I'm not just wasting money collecting adoptables. Okay, fine, normally do that, but not this time. I actually personally don't see anything wrong with this tweet because, again, it depends on how you interpret it, right? This could be read multiple ways. The way that I read this is that, oh, she buys an adopt, then she rigs the adopt and then sells it for the price of the adopt plus whatever her rigging would cost. So yeah, there is a profit, but she's being paid for her time and service of rigging the model. I think that is ethical, right? You paid for the model, you rigged it yourself, so it is your labor, and you don't fluff up the cost in any other regard besides your regular labor cost. I think that's fine. I, again, morally am not okay with the idea of taking a model and then, I don't know, maybe adding some extra fluff to it, maybe you made some more art for it, and then you take the model base price, whatever your art cost, you add $1,000 to it, then you sell it like that. That is called flipping for profit, okay? You're making the future buyer pay more than what it should be worth. What you paid for it plus any additional labor and art you added to it. It should be around that price, not extra. And here in the comments, Big Nothing Monster Man writes, I mean, if they're buying the models, then rigging them and selling them, there isn't anything wrong with that. They are literally buying a product and making a better product with it. Now, if they are buying rigged models and then selling them with no work done for a higher price, it's not illegal, but it's very scummy and against standard practices. Then again, charging 3 times for models for commercial use is also not illegal, but very scummy and against standard practices. And Mao adds, oh yeah, I have no problem with that, but she bought it for $2,000 and then the rig she did was worth $1,000. So the buyer should not have been charged $5,000. And again, Monster Man continues to argue why it's not wrong. And this is the point again that I will hammer home over and over again over the course of this video, because the way that Needy operates is in a very big gray area. I think in her head, she thinks that she's in the right. And I can follow the logic that she's created to get to her conclusion. That is not the train of thinking that I would have ended up on, right? Like, it's not illegal for you to go take the model that you bought from Mao for $2,000 and then sell it for $5,000, right? With your add-ons. Does it feel really fucking shit? Yeah, it does. You know, it's like the same thing as scalpers, you know, in the Pokemon community, the K-pop ticket community, whatever, right? Every community basically that has something that has high value and a limited stock has scalpers. Is scalping products illegal? Most of the time, no, right? Sometimes Pokemon has like a 2-box per buyer limit, you know, and then if you buy over that, that is technically against the rules, but it's not illegal to scalp. It just feels like shit, okay, for all of the other people who don't have bots and they're just trying to buy to play the game, right? It feels bad when there's a bunch of scalpers reselling the ticket. Not illegal, feels bad though. Here we introduce the other VTuber in question, Anna. So Needy made a post writing, I woke up to a lot of people very angry at me about selling the model for more than I paid, so I shall explain myself. I'll address the concern specifically in the post. From a giveaway content creator to flip for profit. It says show more, but the post is now gone. And then this is Anna's response. They write, this hurts and it's just so sad for me. I reached out to you to tell you the person selling the model didn't have permission to give assets to you because they hadn't paid me for the model. And they also hadn't been cleared by the artist who made them. You chose to not care or even attempt to dig into that. I cannot believe your intentions were solely good here. You sold the model for 2.5 times what you paid for it without permission from any of the artists involved and neglected checking when I reached out to you. You might have cleared things with the model artist, and I'm glad for her sake, but now there are several other artists who just had their work passed on without permission. You also never considered the person who made this design through all of this and were planning to make changes to the design without asking them either. Just overall not cool. I am sorry. And then Needy blocked Anna, and then Anna writes, I wasn't rude. I tried to be respectful. I tried to reach out to her privately last night, and this is what I get for speaking up for myself. She blocked me. I tried so hard to keep everything to myself regarding this model. I try to stand up for myself, and it just sucks. I've had my name dragged through dirt regarding this model, and now the art has been passed around without mine or other artists' permission. This could result in me getting backlash by artists or anything. I am just so tired. And then Anna adds, and this is not Ket's fault. She made a mistake, there was a misunderstanding. Once I reached out to Needy, she should have at least attempted to get some clarity on the situation, especially when you're handling something that valuable and plan to pass it on to somebody else, which she did not. Neko Mickey adds, she literally blocked you for this, and it's also clear she knew what the issue was despite saying she wasn't aware of any potential hiccups. And Anna says, I don't really understand the block. She could have reached out to me and cleared up this mistake. I really hope she reconsiders because the artists who spend their time making beautiful things for this model deserve credit and the right to give their permission. And Anna adds, also maybe I'm insane, but I saw that she said it isn't her fault that I didn't get paid. But that was not the point I was making at all. If somebody reached out to me and said the model I'm spending thousands of dollars on has assets that should not be passed on, I'm gonna want more information on that. I'm gonna care about the artists involved. I'm not going to want to spend thousands of dollars on something that I don't have permission to own. So then going back into the stream where Needy was like, oh, why isn't the seller, so Mal or Ketz, being attacked, right? Because, I mean, did Ketz misstep in this situation? Yeah, you know, like you have this model that you didn't fully pay off. You are selling it to somebody else when you didn't ask permission from the artist and the designer and everybody else involved. That's definitely not a great look. It really isn't. And people are putting the pressure on Needy to be like, well, you were buying it, you should have double checked. To be fair, like you should ask, you know, like, hey, do you have permission? Da, 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 da. Sometimes people don't realize we can maybe get benefit of doubt. Like, oh, you know, you assume that because they're selling it, they already got the permission to sell it properly. I would say I have a little less benefit of doubt for Needy just because they buy so many adopts, models, whatever, that they should be well versed in this by now. If you've never bought one or you only bought a couple, you probably aren't super well versed in like the ethics, the legalities, whatever of buying, making sure you get everybody's permission, whatever. But in my opinion, Needy should know better just due to the frequency that they do this. Also, to the point of Needy being like, why is everyone attacking me? Again, the biggest thing is with the whole Ket's mouth, you know, selling when they didn't have permission, whatever, it really can be chalked up to a misunderstanding. Again, like I said, benefit of doubt. Maybe they just didn't know they needed to ask permission. You know, this is their first time selling something, so they just had no idea. We can give benefit of doubt. But then if you are somebody who's very experienced in buying and selling models and then you don't double check and then you upsell it for way more than what you paid for, and you said you were going to double check the TOS, like you specifically said you were going to ask for the artist information so you could double check and you did not do that, then that's how you kind of end up in hot water. Is it fair that there's more pressure on you? It might feel like it's not fair, but that's just how things are going to play out because you just have more experience buying and selling models. When people say you should have known better, there is some expectation that you should have. I'll also say the final point is it's not a good look if you're in hot water to go and complain as to why somebody else isn't also getting dogged on. You know what I mean? Because it does read a little immature. That's just my personal opinion. Going into the art and the artist situation. Here we have Morningstar Studio, and this is posted by Konami, writing "The plot thickens, LOL." Morningstar Studio seems to be the studio manager of the artist, who also seems to go by the name Juliet, who made the tiger artwork. Not the design, but just the art. And Morningstar Studio tweets, "Hello, this is the manager from Morningstar Studios. Please contact us about this matter. There was no permission given to resell this model from the artist Juliet Morningstar. We would like to sort this out." And then Morningstar Studios on their Twitter page on today, the 15th, posted, "Final statement about the tiger model. We have agreed to the new owner using the model art, applying some rules in case it might get sold again. The situation is unfortunate, but involves many other artists as well and 2 previous owners, which causes a difficult situation. We will apply stricter rules in the TOS about reselling Juliet's art in the future to try our best to help prevent situations like this, while at the same time offering a helping hand in rehoming if unavoidable." model. So I know it's confusing because there's two people by the name of Juliet, but Needy is Juliet and Juliet Morningstar is the tiger model artist. And then here we also bring in another user by the name of Buggy, who goes by the Twitter handle BuggaBU. And this is the designer of the tiger model. Buggy writes, I didn't want to comment in it because there's some things that should stay private, but it's kind of sad nobody really considers design artists in these situations. I created the tiger to begin with, and no one ever asked me if it's okay to resell for more or edit my work. It's disheartening, especially because as a design artist, you already have people telling you your work isn't worth the amount they sell it for. Though I understand your work is also valuable and people make mistakes, to not ask and make assumptions. Let this be a message to everybody to respect everyone involved. And this is Buggy's post about the design. This was posted November 26, 2023. And look how cute the design is. Oh, I love this. This is adorable. Prissy writes, exactly why I stopped making designs. They always get resold, even though I've always had in my TOS to tell me when reselling and who buys the design. I've only been asked by 1 to 2 people before they resold them. I almost don't know anyone who has any of my designs anymore. Buggy says, sometimes it feels like people only buy my stuff to resell it, and sometimes I ignore it, but I'm more than generous. I always give commercial rights with final sale and normally don't mind reselling. So as long as it's fair, not profiting off of someone else's work. Celia Vale writes, I'm so sorry this is happening, Buggy. It should be basic respect to ask all artists involved in creating a character and model, since it won't exist without them in the first place. Buggy says, yeah, I guess design artists always go under the radar, but that's one of my most famous designs. And the seller told me they told her my at. I know she has me blocked, but she could have asked the seller to ask me or unblock me to ask, or even have a friend ask if she doesn't like me. I don't know. And Celia adds, yeah, I don't think it would have been too much effort to just unblock and ask you in a professional manner, or get someone else to ask. In my experience, most artists are okay with their designs being resold as long as it's for the same price and they're notified. It doesn't have to be this complicated. Then Buggy adds, I think this is a good time to educate some people who may not know when an artist gives you commercial rights, it's not the same thing as a buyout, also referred to as a copyright. Commercial rights is exclusively paying to use the artwork for making profit, like content creation, branding, merch, etc. It does not mean the artist doesn't own the art or have any copyright over it anymore. If that were the case, it would be a buyout. Be careful because if you violate a TOS, most artists still own the copyright and could potentially take their work back. Please communicate and understand the difference. It is a easy mix-up. Here, a buyout means you're selling your artwork's copyright to a company. You get a large payment up front, but you lose ownership and any future earnings from the piece. Whereas commercial rights means you give them permission to the liberties to use said content for profit-generating activities. Yes, this is something, I really like how Buggy mentioned this. This is something that I think all artists should be more educated on, because sometimes people get confused about the terminology and like how it plays out. When you have artwork and you make artwork for people and you sell it, typically when artists sell artwork, a lot of times in the commission, it is for private usage only. So you can, do things with it, like print it on a poster and then stick it on your wall. But commercial rights allows you to make money off of that design. So if you buy a design from an artist and you want to sell it as prints, okay, at like a booth or something, then you would need to buy the commercial rights for that artwork. It does not mean you as the buyer owns the artwork, right? The copyright still belongs with the original artist. You are just now allowed to profit from the artwork. Typically with commercial rights as well, a lot of times you will discuss with the artist what is and is not allowed. So there are going to also be limitations, as in you can do X, Y, and Z, but maybe you cannot, I don't know, print books with it, I don't know, right? Whatever the artist like deems okay. But typically you're allowed a license to profit off of it. If you buy the copyright to the artwork, then that is as if you own the artwork. It is yours to do what you please. You can do whatever you want with it. You can take the artwork and make tiles out of it and stick it in your bathroom for all anyone cares, because you now have ownership over the artwork. Now, does that mean you can legally claim you made the artwork? No. But it means you now own the artwork. It's also two different things. You can't claim you made it because you did not. That's still lying. But yes, commercial rights is revocable, and some artists will put it in their TOS. Hey, if you're a piece of crap, I will take the commercial rights back. That's just something to keep in mind. It is revocable. And if you have limitations on your commercial usage, as in you won't allow your artwork to be done for this, that, like you can profit on the artwork, but maybe you can't use it for anything NSFW. I don't know if like somebody wants to make some sussy material and slap the artwork you made on it. You need to explicitly put that in the commercial licenses that you're selling out to people. Otherwise, it's fair game because you didn't disclose anything. And then a Twitter user by the name of Clomi writes, this isn't a comment on the whole thing going on, but a good reminder to keep your character design artist in mind when selling and debuting. So often I see the designer not mentioned or mentioned separately from the artist in rigor when they're a crucial part of the process. You wouldn't have the cute VTuber model without the designer creating its concept, so let's remember to treat them the same way you treat your artist in rigor. My TOS states I must be informed before any reselling, and the new owner has to agree to my TOS. This way I can check that my design doesn't go to somebody I have blacklisted, keep track of who actually owns it versus stealing it, and make sure my name stays with the design. Designers put so much love and attention into a character, it is so sad how often they're thrown to the side. Again, not a comment on the current VTuber stuff, my dyslexic ass doesn't have the time or energy to read everything. Just a general note when it comes to designs and adopts and making sure we don't forget the designers. I completely agree with the sentiment because I absolutely agree that I oftentimes see designers like brushed under the rug. They often get lost in the sauce. You'll see the artist credited, you'll see the rigor credited. The designer, we have a lot more to get into. Because of this whole call-out situation that was started with the Mao aka Ketsny call-outs, in the last 24 hours, there have been a ton of people coming out of the woodworks and talking about their negative experiences with Needy. So I have found everyone that I could find as of recording this video, and we're gonna look into this. Here we have another user by the name of Uta Inzi. We've actually talked about them before. It was like somebody was stealing their art from my memory. This was like very early on in my art drama channel thing. But Uta writes, let me tell you my own experience. She commissioned a custom design for me for $135. I got $200 for the rush. The request was similar to her model, Fox, Galaxy, Moon, and I was sure I was doing it for her because we hadn't discussed anything else. When I sent her the finished character and asked if it was okay, she said she loved her. Well, the next day I saw the character was already for sale for $270. I didn't even have time to send her the files. And I don't know why she charged extra because she didn't discuss it with me. I thought it was just a mistake, but now I see that it's not just me. I am not accusing anyone or anything like that. I just shared what happened. Please draw your own conclusions and don't sow hatred on anyone. And here we can see the DMs where the DM says, how much extra would it cost for a rush fee deadline of 2 weeks if possible? And the person writes, I usually charge double, but I think I can do it for 200 instead of 270. What do you think? That person responded looks to be Uta, and then it seems like Needy said, that would be great, yes, I'll take it. And they write, hi, it's Needy VT. Just saw your post about me and I think I quickly scrolled through our DMs to see what I paid you and just at a glance saw this $270 you mentioned. That's my bad. I'll gladly pay you that extra $7 right now if you let me know where to send it. And Uta responds, I don't need this money. Send it to the buyer you cheated. But I won't change anything because given everything else, we can't be sure that it was really a mistake and an isolated incident. And then Layla adds, holy shit, I thought you meant she was selling it for more, but maybe it would have some extra art included. But it's just the design that you made. I'm so sorry you went through that. And Uta says, yes, only the design. Thank you for your support. It looks like, they were trying to pay the artist for it, the $70 difference, right? Inzi and Inzi declined. So maybe they're trying to like refund $70 to the buyer or something to make the price fair because they got the number wrong. Again, right? You could argue, oh, this could be an isolated incident. Could be. But I would just say, like, if this is a one-off scenario, I would totally think it's just an isolated incident. If you do tend to have a history of behavior of this, it's one of two things. Either one, you're maliciously upselling and flipping models for profit, or two, you do way too many sales and adopts and therefore you can't keep track of the prices whatsoever because you do too many. So one or the other, something needs to change, right? Maybe one, if it is the number one maliciously doing this, let's not do that. But if it is the number two, then do less, right? Because clearly it's reached the point where you can't keep up with the keeping track of the prices, who bought what, etc. If you just lower the amount you're doing, it will be a lot easier to keep track of and get the numbers right. Again, I try to give benefit of doubt when I can. Sometimes I can't, but this maybe, right? But we will look at more scenarios and then you tell me whether you think it's an isolated incident or not. Next up, we have a Twitter user by the name of Lumi Eve VT, who goes by Lumi, writing, I was just informed that Needy is selling the adopt I just gave away for free. Please do not buy from her. She has been given away. I didn't even spend $200 on her. I spent $75. She is more than upcharging. I have blocked her after everything that's happened yesterday and had no clue. Please don't buy it. She is very much ripping you off and the design has been given away. So in this screenshot, it reads, NSFW. Strakoza VT Reindeer Adoptable comes with completely nude version of the reference sheet. Design is only 200 USD or model art plus 3 expressions plus extra ref sheet for 500. All of the above plus rigging for 800. DM to claim, payment plans accepted. And Lumi adds, here's proof of purchase. I paid $150 for the 2 adopts I gave away today. $75 each. I had donated prior to everything that was exposed yesterday and do not consent to it being resold for more than double the price. So in the DMs to the artist says, hi, is Cash App or PayPal good? Lumi says I can do either, whichever is best. And the artist says, all right, 1 second, redacted is my Cash App, and there's the screenshot. And they say, this one, right? And the artist says, yes. And Lumi says, all right, sent the 150. I hope this helps. And the artist sent the Google Drive with the characters. And Lumi says, thank you. They're so cute. Lumi adds, Needy does not have permission to sell these adopts after all the shit she pulled, especially for nearly triple the price I paid. If anyone has bought it, please file a chargeback and report her to get your money back. I don't know if anyone has bought it, and I'm sick to my stomach at the prospect of somebody being ripped off like this. I will not say anything about Needy other than I am deeply disappointed and disgusted by this behavior and how she spent hours complaining of being called out for this exact kind of behavior. I had no clue due to her scrubbing her old server and then making a new one that I was not in. Thank you to the sweetheart who informed me. I appreciate it so much, and you've helped prevent somebody from being scammed. I will let Twitter do its thing and try to calm down now, haha. Final update. Needy has apologized on her Twitter to everybody and publicly stated she will not be selling any adoptables she did not pay for. So the design is safe with her new owner. Thank you everybody who got this out there. I was close to tears seeing she was trying to sell it for nearly triple the price I paid in 2023 after I gave her away to somebody who wanted to get her for their friend. Truly, I am so grateful. Liam writes, gotta say, mighty kind of you just to give it away though. Sounds like a good person. And Lumi says, I try to be. I just wanted to give somebody an opportunity to get a head start, and I haven't done anything with them in 2 years. So I felt somebody else deserved them more. I'm happy they can enjoy their design in peace. Maggie Rose writes, so to best summarize, you bought a model, started a giveaway for said model, then somebody won and tried reselling. And Lumi says, I bought the design back in 2023. I gave it away today, and I was later informed Needy was trying to resell it for triple the price in a Discord server I was not in after scrubbing her old one I was in. And this is a screenshot of the refund where Needy writes, design donations are all canceled since I won't be here to post them. I'll edit my adoptable sales too when I get to my PC. It will be a while, but don't worry. I won't sell them unless I paid for them. Anything donated is fully returned. So again, thankfully, we're getting actual action from Needy in terms of trying to right the wrongs. There's a lot of stuff to fix, but they're at least working towards it. So then we have another user by the name of Scythe who goes by the handle Scythebun, writing, yeah, I paid over $500, but it only cost $460 and the TOS stated that. Needy, why do you do this to us? You are not the victim. Stop acting like you are. I could nearly afford this from you knowing you upended the price. I'm pissed. Such a beautiful design. Kai did amazing. What the F, Needy. So this is for a Fallen Angel design. I actually saw them selling this one. And they write option 1, $280 for personal rights. Option 2, $460 for commercial rights plus Scythe design. Purchase her here. Retweets are appreciated. And the description reads, I reserve the rights to my design. You reserve the rights to gift, trade, or sell after purchasing as long as the amount does not exceed the original price. You can request minor color adjustments for commercial use. No refunds after purchasing. Do not use for AI. And then Scythe adds, looks like somebody lied about buying a model for $500 and charging $500 for it. And these are DMs between somebody and Juliet or Needy. We don't know if this person is Scythe. Needy writes, I got it for $324, so I will take that chunk off your payment. I have reserved your spot in line as well. Claim is all yours. Congrats, my dear. This is quite the design. I'll show you her Scythe when it's finished. I think on Monday, the design artist said. And when you pay a total of $500, I'll hand over ownership of the design. Congrats. And they say that is for the bunny model, correct? And Needy says, fingers crossed for you, my dear. When you're ready, you can donate $300 here and she will be all yours. Claimed. But you cannot use her or get her design art until you pay the original down payment of $500 because that's what I paid for the design. So you'll have to pay the same in order for me to hand it over. You won't be able to use her as a profile pic or anything, but you can let everyone know you claimed her and we'll rebrand to her when you can. And of course, I'll take her off the market after the $300 payment so no one will take it from you. And then Kai says, oh my god. From my POV, she shouldn't have stated that $500 was the original price. She only paid $460 since it was the established price for your two-toned hair bunny. Let me retrieve my post for you. Somebody else said she had been doing this for a long time with all of her adopts. It saddens me very much. And then Kai, the artist, who goes by the Twitter handle Space Bruli, adds, hi, Scythe reached out to me and we are resolving it in DM. I only allow reselling for a higher price if the adopt comes with add-on assets such as fan arts and so on. There is something that is indeed catching me off guard right now. Now we're going to get into some other situations with Needy. So next up we have a situation with Twitter user Benny who goes by Demon Benny. And they write, I've kept my opinions to myself about this whole situation, but the more I see about it, the more I feel like I need to say my part. Last year, Needy had made a post about going into people's Twitch streams and trying to upsell or give away models that they deemed were better than their current PNGs or models the streamer was using. They were encouraging this behavior to others. I quickly made a comment on the post stating that this is self-promotion. This is inappropriate and Twitch is not the place for it. I was met with, quote, "That's your opinion. I am helping people," end quote. I said you can help people on Twitter and other platforms, but you don't go into somebody's Twitch channel and tell them, quote, "Hey, I can get you something better," end quote. It was a back and forth argument, and eventually they made a tweet stating I had ruined their mental health. They weren't able to sleep or eat for days. The call out hadn't even been 24 hours yet. But because of this post, I was met with a ton of backlash. I was told to end myself, and I had no idea what I was talking about. This person had done X, Y, and Z for the Vtuber community, and I am ruining a good thing. It's my fault, etc. I had no idea at the time that they were also buying affordable adopts and reselling at a higher price. I am still very disappointed in this behavior from them. You can help people without putting yourself in a broke situation. There is no reason to spend money on adopts if you're trying to save for vacation. I wish no harm to Needy, but after seeing multiple issues with them, it seems like their behavior will never change. Please do better. Respect artists and let others have a chance at adopts. It's okay to want to make a profit, but it is not okay to act like a hero about it. Nico Mimi writes, absolutely appalling. To claim you ruined their mental health with an incredibly valid and professional observation, only to turn around to make a post encouraging people to ruin your mental health is obscene. I'm so sorry, Benny, but I'm proud of you for coming forward. And Benny says, thank you, Mickey. After talking to you, I felt the courage to speak up. Thank you for always being an advocate for others and always helping. So, Nico Mimi writes, I usually don't post about VTuber news. That is not what my account is for. And for a lot of things, I think it could have been solved in DMs. But certain actions should be spoken about, and we should offer support for those involved. I don't think harmful behaviors should be given a pass. And because of people amplifying recent events, one of my friends was able to come forward and speak about her experience of being targeted with false information and getting sent life-ending threats. Sometimes we need to bring uncomfortable information to light to protect ourselves and the community as a whole. Proud of everybody for doing so, and hoping that they can move on to more positive things and stay safer now. Apologies for the heavier post. I will return to my usual chaos tomorrow. Nico adds, please give some love to Benny and others affected. And last comment, seeing some people say that people are just jumping on the bandwagon and it isn't necessary to say anything. I think when somebody is encouraging hate to multiple people, it is necessary to say something publicly. That's just staying safe. That's not drama. So we have another person talking about their experience with Needy, and this person goes by the name of Air Dylan, who goes by the handle AirDylanCA on Twitter. They write, my experience with Needy VT. No one in this thread is to be harassed or witch hunted, as we do not condone it. This is us venting how we felt about it since we couldn't come out publicly at the time. Back in September 2024 or early October 2024, I had reached out to Needy in regards to her selling her Fox model for $5,000 USD. We were super excited since we wanted the model so badly. Plus, she allowed us to do a payment plan. Apparently I had reached out at the same time as her friend did, according to what Needy said. They kept backing out of full payment, so Needy didn't think they were serious. And it might be a little bit confusing if you look at the thread, because Air Dylan keeps using the word we. It's because of this. This is posted by DGhostVT, who goes by Cyber Fariha, if I read that right. That's their handle, writing, hi. I'm the partner that was involved with Dylan during this. I was the one interested in the model whilst Dylan did the communication and payment. So going back to this, there's a graphic attached, and this is a DM from Needy or Juliet, where Needy says, oh no, I'll never ask for it early. I will say though, I'm scared to admit, I did have a friend that was super interested in it back when you messaged me and we're talking about paying but hadn't yet. I let them know that you are getting ready to make a down payment, and the only way I would consider anyone else over you is if they paid the full $5,000 to cancel out the down payment. As financially, I desperately need that, and I feel I wouldn't have much of a choice but to take that kind of offer if it were presented to me. They keep repeatedly telling me they're going to give me the full $5,000, but keep canceling every day they're scheduled to do so. They were supposed to do it yesterday, in fact. Nope. I told them by the time you pay $3,000 total, I will not allow them to pay me in full and cancel our deal, as I am willing to sacrifice that $2,000 wait time. No biggie. I hope it doesn't upset you and that you understand I do have to look out for myself financially, and of course would refund you if that were to happen. But they have yet to follow through. They told me they would tomorrow, but I believe it's another broken promise, like many times before. And if by some chance somebody does pay in full, I would open up a slot for you for a Juzz model for cheaper, which is the same artist, but you would get your own custom design, rather than settling for mine. And you would not have to pay the full $5,000, of course, so you could relax financially. 2. Needy had given a TOS to Abide since we were interested in the model. This was before payments were made. The TOS was agreed to as shown in the video. So this is the TOS, written by Needy. I wrote out some terms just so it's all in one place for you, but basically everything I've already mentioned plus some credit stuff. Please write below if you agree to the terms so we have it on record. TOS. You are rebranding to previous me. That means you got my persona but may not use the name Needy. If a $500 payment is not made every month by the 14th, all payments will cancel and I will relist the model for sale. Absolutely no refunds, even payments, as I will be spending the money immediately on the new model and I simply won't have the funds anymore to refund you. Please always credit the artist. Model art by What Juz and rigging by Eyes on Fire. None of the art it comes with can ever be resold. I am simply giving it to you for free as a gift. It is very important that you read over each artist's TOS, especially the I'm not reading this right, but specifically the Aglaea banner and the badges, as they have specific requests. Like the badge artist requires them that you credit them in your Twitch panels, for example. When you reach 4,000 USD, I will send over all of the artwork and everything it comes with except the model itself. When you reach 5K, I will of course then hand over the model. Though payments require $500 a month, you absolutely can pay more per month, as the sooner you pay it off, the sooner you get your model. All current fan art that's out is mine and you may not use it. Any fan art in the future for you, of course, will be yours. And here's a list of everything I've been approved for so far. Still waiting to hear back from some artists. Model fully rigged with multiple toggles, including book toggle and outfit toggle, badges, panels, multiple illustrations, multiple sets of emotes, animated alerts, 2 ref sheets, and an entire overlay bundle. And they write, I, Cyber Faria, agree to the terms of service stated above and will respect all artists who have worked with said model and artworks. I will also make sure 500 is paid strictly before the due date each month. Dylan writes, we made payments which equal to the total of 2,000 USD out of the 5,000 owed when her friend was suddenly interested in paying in full. Needy knew for 2 months that her friend was interested, yet didn't tell us until the 2K was already paid. So here the DM again, same DM, but it reads, I did have a friend that was super interested in it back when you messaged me and were talking about paying, but hadn't yet. 4. Needy told us we'd have to pay another $1,000 at the time, which would equal to 3K total for us to 100% guarantee the model was completely ours and that nobody could grab it. And then it's the same DM, but it reads, I told them by the time you pay 3K total, I will not allow them to pay me in full and cancel our deal. 5. She basically said whomever made the payment first got it. Her friend paid 5K in full before we could pay the extra 1K, even though we had already paid 2K in total to Needy. So here you can see payments. One payment was made for 1,500 USD, another one was made for 500 USD for a total of 2K. And they're both refunded. 6. We were refunded the total we gave regardless, but overall this was just a rough situation that left a bitter taste in our mouths. We never came out publicly about it due to the fear of backlash and harassment from others, since we've seen others get shamed off the internet. So there was a comment that was then deleted, but Dylan responds, we ain't playing the victim card. It's called making somebody take responsibility for breaking an agreement, especially since she's done it to others. And then Synergy tagged me in this. Okay, throwing in my 2 cents, Look, I've never sold anything of such a large monetary value before, so I'm actually not super familiar on how that goes. I've also never bought anything on a payment plan system of that much value. I did pay 5K to be in a video game once, but that was a one-shot 5K. That was not a payment plan. I feel like that's kind of weird to me, you know? Like, hey, you can start paying for this model and give me money, but if somebody can pay in full, then I'm just gonna refund you and take that instead. Here's the thing, I get it. I get if you are selling something of that value, obviously you're going to want to sell it to somebody who can pay you immediately so you can get the money. 5K is a lot of money. I don't know why you need it. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of things you could spend 5K on: bills, rent, medical bills, whatever, right? So I totally understand that you would want to sell it to somebody who can pay you immediately. But I think it's a bit disingenuous to kind of lead other people on, in this case Dylan and their partner, lead them on, have them pay you, and then, oh shit, my bad, you know, like the other person wants to buy it. And this is the whole thing with all of these situations with Needy, in that it is always this big gray area where like Needy could be like, oh well, I was transparent, I did tell them. Yes, you did tell Dylan this. According to Dylan though, albeit late, right? This DM was sent October 9th, 2024, and we can see the first payment was made September 14th, the second payment was made October 9th. The same day the next $500 were sent was also the day that Needy reached out being like, oh, by the way, there's another person. If that is the first message that Needy has sent about this mystery friend that wanted the model and could pay in full. I just think ethically, if you want people to pay in full, then just have a no payment plans. I will only accept full. Like, I will only accept payment in full. Or, you know what I mean? Like, disclose it up front. I feel like the thing about a VTuber model and selling it is a lot of times it's sold on payment plans, which is totally understandable because they're expensive. But then again, like, you get people's hopes up for so long, you know? Like, Dylan's partner must have been hoping for a whole month, being like, oh my god, I'm gonna get this model, yay, I'm really excited for this model, and then I can plan my debut, here's what I'm gonna do, here's all my content plans, and then, like, oh, let's roll the tapes back because somebody else wants it, and they're gonna sell it to that other person instead. It's just a big gray area where I personally would not do that. are you, I guess, technically allowed to because you refunded Dylan in full and then took the other friend's payment? Sure. I mean, I guess you refunded Dylan, so it's okay. But like, this is just a very messy way to do a VTuber sale, in my opinion, or just selling anything of this value. So I just think it's a bit odd. To me, it kind of feels like potentially they really needed money, right? And so Dylan was willing to pay, some money up front, $1,500 plus an extra $500. So my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory is maybe they needed the money. They were like, oh, here's this person that's willing to give me money right now, so I'm just going to say yes, and I'm just going to keep taking the money. And then, oh, but here's a friend that's willing to pay me all the money. I'm going to keep waiting for them. Oh, but they keep blowing me off. So I'm just going to keep taking Dylan's money until they can actually give me all the money. And then I'll pay Dylan back. So it's kind of like borrowing from Dylan to get some money as like a credit card essentially, and then refunding him later. I don't know. That's just not how I would do things because it's so messy. You lead on a bunch of people, you get people excited. I completely understand, like having a big lump sum of $5K hit your bank account is great. It can do wonders for people who are in a sticky financial situation. But if you really needed that $5K up front, then you should have just had a little TOS or something being like, I'm only taking full payments. No payment plans, and then you won't have to deal with all of this. And then Nekomiki adds, once you put any payment down, that's it. No other offers can be made. Doesn't matter what kind of story with the friend. Also super contradictory to her saying she lets people do any payment plan and not also admitting that it doesn't matter because she will let people buy out like this. I am so sorry you even have to deal with this. And Dylan says, yep, I agree. Now, if I was told this in the beginning, it wouldn't be as bad and maybe I would have paid in full. And it shouldn't have mattered about the friend. An agreement was made and she broke it. Yeah, because you agreed to sell it to Dylan and then now you're walking it back being like, oh, by the way, I have a friend who wants it. So now you're in competition with this friend to buy this thing. Like Dylan didn't know they were in competition for a whole month. And they find out a month later. It's just weird. Okay, this happens sometimes in the housing markets when they're really impacted, where you will put in an offer for a home, and then they'll be like, oh, it's all yours, like you got this. Technically, no money is exchanged though, right? And then somebody else will come in and be like, well, I could pay like an extra $50K, and they'll just like pull it out of under you, even though they already agreed. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that, please. Dylan adds, I just like to say thank you everybody for the support and nice messages about what happened. Really means a lot to know we got basically devastated by Needy pulling this crap. I mean, it was a model for my partner, and even I was upset. And yeah, that's the worst part too, because a VTuber model is your identity. It becomes your brand, and you get so excited planning things, cooking things up, hyping things up for a whole month, thinking it's yours. It is like blue ball to the extreme. And Madame adds, I completely understand why you're upset, and I truly empathize with your frustration. From the first message, Needy did state that if somebody paid $5K up front, it would override any previous down payment, and she would issue a refund for what has already been paid. That said, I personally don't agree with how this played out. As somebody pointed out, when you put something on layaway at a store, you expect it to be held for you, not sold to somebody who can pay in full. I don't think this approach is fair, but based on the initial message, Needy was upfront about her intentions. And Digo says, regardless though, it's a crappy thing to do. And Dylan says, the thing that's more bothering is she never said anything about the $5K when we started. And no, I don't agree because an agreement was already made. If I was told about it beforehand, maybe I'd be more okay with it and paid upfront. And I do agree too with what Dylan is saying, right? Like, if this is your condition that you can start a payment plan, 3K is your limit for ownership, 5K is a full buyout, and you're gonna do it like this, then just tell them up front so they know, oh, do I want to get into this messy scenario or not, But the thing is, like, Dylan wasn't told about this. We saw the message being sent on October 9th, but Dylan made the first $1,500 payment September 14th. So that was like 3 to 4 weeks prior to being told how Needy wanted to restructure it. So I don't like those terms in general for a sale, being like, oh, you can start paying for it, but somebody else can buy it out of you. I've just personally never heard of it. Again, I've never bought anything of this large of value on a payment plan. So I don't know, maybe it's fucking normal. I don't think so though, right? But I just think that's weird, right? The next point of contention that has been brought up about Needy in these discussions is Needy outpricing people in the market. So this is a very nuanced situation. Let's talk about it. This is posted by Konami. We read one of their tweets prior, and they write, twice now, I have attempted to purchase a model that has gone up for sale only for a larger creator to swoop in, buy it, and choose to resell for a much higher price and down payment. It took me so long to save up to, and now it's just not enough. Kinda wanna cry. And Nico Mimi writes, exactly how many adopts is somebody buying to literally strangle the market? OMG. And Konami says, it's a crazy situation, TBH. And Izu writes, this happened to me multiple times with adopts I wanted to get for the outfits, but they were always snatched by the same person every time to resell. And Konami says, it's so unfortunate. Like, just because you can't afford to do stuff like that, buy adopt after adopt after adopt, maybe be considerate of the other people who want to try and purchase as well, you know? And Azukito writes, I know who you're talking about. Happened to me too, and honestly, I kind of hate that they do that because it's not fair. They buy the model, then rig it themselves and sell it for a higher price to fund their lifestyle. I don't think they realize it takes away from others. Konami writes, yes, I've seen this multiple times from them. Or they buy the model, purchase art, or have art donated to them for the model, then sell at a higher price. It's just not fair to the people who can't afford it at a higher price point. And Azu writes, right? Like, they think they're doing the community a service, but really they're just hurting more people than helping them. And I don't think she realizes that because of all the people who are on their knees praising them and treating them like some sort of godsend. And Azu adds, also the fact that they rig it themselves and resell it is kind of ass, because what if you want the model but don't like their style of rigging? Personally, I hate their rigging style. Now you're paying over double for the model and feel bad for throwing their hard work to the side. And Konami says, this is very valid. And Rotlia or Celestia writes, fun fact, this VTuber who is being talked about in this tweet scalped my dream design. She blocked me when I called her out for being a bully. It seems she hasn't changed a bit and is still acting childish. Girl needs to grow up and touch grass. I feel you, Konami. P.S. I now have a design that's even better thanks to my 2 design mamas. I love both of their designs for me so much. And then here's a tweet from Twitter user Kiarin or Kia writing, this makes me so sad. Quote, I'm sorry if I take your dream one, end quote. And then talking about what you do with each design doesn't make it better. It makes you seem kind of self-righteous. I felt this way for a while. Needy is lovely for wanting to support artists and has good intentions 100%, I don't doubt that. She is supporting artists by buying. It's just sad to watch a design that you love get taken by the same person every time. Giveaways are great, but letting it gut to your head and thinking you're some sort of savior is weird to me. So this is a quote from Needy where they write, it's not fair that she takes them and sells them for more because people who really wanted them can't get them, end quote. That's not really my fault. You're free to save up and get a custom model of your dreams instead of buying my adopts. And I do a lot for people who can't get models on their own. I provide many giveaways for models as well as very cheap $10 pre-made models that I also give away. I also try to do things for those who can't do it on their own. I'm sorry if I take your dream one, but I offer many, many ways for other models or designs. And here is some screenshots about Needy bidding for an adopt. So somebody bid 155, Needy bid 170. And then the redacted writes, all right, I can't compete there. Good luck, Juliet. And Needy, Juliet, writes, sorry, dear. She will be a model rigged and given back to the community if that helps. And redacted says, no hard feelings at all. I was just going to use her as a self-indulgent OC, alternate universe character, so your cause is more beneficial towards somebody anyways. Sharkuna writes, it's so weird to me that every adopt has to be turned into a model anyways. What happened to just having OCs to have fun with them without making them the whole brand? Kia says, same. And also, if they did want to make it into a VTuber model and persona, it's nice to let people be allowed to choose who they want their art and rig by. Needy just wanted her name on it. She stated that almost verbatim. This is like a very nuanced take. I'm curious about your thoughts on this scenario. So on one hand, right, I completely understand what Needy is doing is, again, completely illegal. You are allowed to bid on as many adopts as you want. You are supporting artists by buying their adopts. You are also supporting artists by bidding up the adopts to a really high price because you can afford it, so you can get it. So maybe the artist normally would be able to sell this adopt for 150, you bid it up to 250. Now the artist makes more money. Yay, that is totally fair. You are supporting artists and they do your own thing. You turn around, you give it away. The VTuber models, so you're giving away VTuber models or you're selling them for a price, etc., right? That's legal. You're totally allowed to do that. But two things can be true at once, and you can do something and buy it because you can afford it and then resell it. Whether you give it away or resell it for free or $10, whatever you choose to do with it, right? You're entitled to do that as long as you're operating fairly. So again, buying a model for $50 and selling it for $150 with no extra changes, not fair in my opinion. Buying a model for, $100, rigging it yourself and then selling it, including a rigging price, totally fair. That can be totally valid. And it can also feel really, really bad for the people who had their eye on that design for a really long time, being like, oh, this is my favorite one. I've been watching this artist make this over the last month. The moment it comes up, I'm gonna bid on it. I know this artist designs normally go for 150. I've got 150 bucks saved up. And then in pops this big VTuber with a bunch of money, and they bid it up to like 250, 300, and now you can't afford it because you saved 150 thinking that is typically how much this artist's models and designs will sell for, and it got bid up higher than you can afford. Personal story, I used to be a sneakerhead, and I have small feet. I wear a size 4.5 grade school, size 6 women's, okay? So they already don't make very many shoes in that size, especially the hype sneaker shoes, because they always make them in like 9s and 10s, and those are always the lowest price. But my size, a 4.5 grade school, you barely find those as it is. Sometimes they don't even make it in my size because it's just too small. If they do drop it in my size, these freaking resellers keep buying them and then reselling them for way higher. And I was a sneakerhead when I was in like high school, and then I petered off in college. But bro, I was a high schooler. I couldn't afford, okay, the shoes were $220 on drop, okay, a lot of times they'd be $220. I would have $220. I wouldn't have $550, $600 that these resellers are reselling it for. I can't afford that shit. And obviously this is a lot worse than what is happening with a lot of what Needy is doing, because obviously the resellers don't do anything extra. They just buy it and literally resell it. At least if you're adding extra art, it is making it a little better. But again, going to the whole point of like, oh, it's not my fault you can't afford it. Yeah, it's not your fault that I'm a broke high schooler, but it still feels like shit as the broke high schooler who also woke up at 7 a.m. in the morning trying to buy these shoes on drop, and I couldn't get it. I just didn't hit like you did. And now it's reselling for way higher than what I could afford. And I saved up the $220 and I couldn't afford it because you resold it. Especially because all these scalpers like scalping shoes in my size, okay? But again, I think the same thing for like these designs, VTubers, whatever. It's a little bit different even than the shoes, because it's not the same as being like, oh, you can just get another one, because it's not the same. You can't get that model. Because once that design sells, that design belongs to somebody. You can't get that same design unless it's a pre-made that is being sold to multiple people. If somebody takes that design, you can't get it anymore. So it is literally a one and done, and that must feel even worse if you've had your eyes on it for a really long time and you just can't buy it. So I'm just saying that this is a very nuanced scenario where you can be completely right in what you're doing, and what you are doing can bring good to the community, and like if you are buying it and then giving it away, but it can also feel really bad for the person that had their eyes on it and you outbid them, you know? So I think this is a scenario where it's kind of like, okay, how can we fix this and how can we improve this scenario so that you can continue giving things away without people being outbid, you know, from designs that they've really wanted. I don't know what the scenario is. I would love to hear your thoughts on like a fix or a solution. Maybe if you're truly dedicated on giving designs away, maybe you have some artists you work with and then you commission the artist to make specific designs just for you to give away. So it's not a public design that is going to be auctioned off to be bid on, but it's something that you commission them for with the full knowledge that you will be giving or selling it or whatever. And you have the artist's permission, that it's fully transparent. So therefore, like people who had their eyes on it wouldn't be sad because it was never intended for a public auction. So maybe that could be a solution. I'm trying to figure out the best solution for it. This is a situation where it's a very big middle ground of like what's okay, what's not okay, right? The people who felt bad for all their designs getting bid up and not being able to buy it, your feelings are completely valid. And people being like, oh, you're just too broke to afford it. People who say that have never been in a position in their life where they had something they wanted and somebody else with more money stepped in and took it from them. It just feels bad, you know? Like you didn't ask to be broke. I didn't ask to not be able to afford these resale prices. I would have loved to be a Nepo baby and bought those $600 shoes. But you know what? Didn't roll that in this lifetime. So next up is talks about her VTuber class. So Needy recently launched a VTuber class. Again, if you don't know, Needy is a rigger. So she launched a class teaching people how to rig. Originally, she was offering like monthly subscriptions to her rigging course for like $25 a month, something like that. And then she changed the price to a one-time flat fee of $100. And I believe she lowered that one-time fee now to $75. But there's been some discourse about the VTuber course. We have another post written by Moo, aka Mooing AU on Twitter, talking about Needy's VTuber rigging class. So Moo writes, this is kind of ridiculous. My experience so far with Needy VT. I spent $100 to do her rigging classes, and TBH, I have been very disappointed by them. Not only did she lower the price and not tell anyone, one, they're not even all out yet. You have to wait for more vids. She started selling the course unprepared, and I have to sit on my hands and wait weeks when I already paid $100 effing dollars. Two, they're as basic as a course can get. I feel like I could be watching a YouTube video about rigging and I'd be farther along. Like, if you blink, you drag the eyelid down, that's it. Maybe there's special effects and stuff later, but guess what? They're not even made videos yet. She started selling random courses without even making the course video yet. I feel totally pawned out of $100. I get to rig her model at her schedule, which so far I've been waiting since the end of February for all these courses. Why sell courses if you're not ready to sell courses? Like, why would you not have the videos made already? And by the way, the I'll be in voice comms to help is not true. I have not seen her in voice chat once, and it's not even $100 anymore. It's $75 now. Not to mention, I didn't even get a chance to share art in her Discord server without making fan art of her character because it's required to be a verified artist. And then we have people like Fulmonia writing force positivity, giveaways, offer paid courses. She's a crypto bro. And Moose says, LMAO, you are so right. Eclair writes, oh god, the blinking. Saw a video of one of the members of that rigging academy that was precisely about that, and simply dragging the eyelash down without any changes is not rigging a blink. There are a quintillion free resources on YouTube for it. Why would anyone even pay her? And Moose says, I don't know. I was super disappointed when I got to the point and she said, let's just drag the eyelash down. Look at other tutorials for mirroring stuff on the other side. Like, what do you mean look at other tutorials? I paid you $100 for this tutorial. And then another person by the name of Raya Inc. tweets this under one of Needy's posts, showing Moo's tweet and then writing, hey, I saw this earlier, re your academy. If true, this is really concerning. A one-time payment of $100 for incomplete content? I can't find any information on your pages that suggests that this program is not finished yet either. And Needy writes, hello, I did say that it was a work in progress and incomplete in the purchase post, and multiple repeat posts and Discord announcements that I need to take more time. That I would not open monthly memberships until it was complete and ready so their membership would not be wasted. But that lifetime memberships were open if they wanted, because lifetime is lifetime and they would get the content eventually no matter what. I was open and honest about it not being complete, and to purchase only if you want, so you can kind of see the classes posted live and the fun process. Completely optional. And the course is almost complete. They can rig an entire model now just without physics. They can do head angles, body angles, mouth, eyes, brows, etc., but no physics yet. That's the next video to be released. And Needy linked a post that they've made about their academy. So some TLDRs, they write about opening up an academy where they will work with you one-on-one to teach you how to rig, to get hands-on experience with live DD cubism, access to recorded lessons, and to receive personal support through the Discord. They talk about how rigging changed their life and that there will be live calls where they will work with you, watch your progress, and help you where you may be stuck, and chat and discuss. And that every step of rigging will be pre-recorded in short step-by-step videos that you can watch at any time. So they state that there's two types of memberships, lifetime and monthly, and they write that the academy is still a work in progress and I need roughly a week or two to finish putting out the modules. So only lifetime memberships are open and available to grab, and that monthly memberships are going to be rolling out later, and that they added a work in progress graphic on the bottom. And then another user by the name of Lanny Lee writes, you mentioned body angles here, but your website states that you do not do body Z. Is body Z included in your tutorials or academy? I've never seen somebody leave that out of a free tutorial, let alone a paid class, so I thought I would ask. Not trying to be rude, just asking. And then Raya says, oh, I'm curious about this too. And then Lanny asked that under Moo's post, and then Moo says no, she had us delete that parameter. And then Lanny adds, that's extremely disappointing to hear. Not sure why she'd choose to charge for this academy if she's leaving out basic, crucial information that even free tutorials include. Ambrosia theorizes, I just think it was a way for her to get free money by releasing a rigging course on her coffee, yet not prepared for it. And Cass adds, I'm sorry about that last bit, you have to make her free art before she verifies you, pardon me. So then we have Raya again, who was talking about the courses, writing disappointed to see that this hasn't been updated to include the disclaimer that the course is not yet complete, yet the price has been put back up to $100. And again, this was the big criticism that Needy had received about the lifetime access, with the fact that even though she did technically, I guess, say on her social media that it was not complete, the important disclaimer is to put it on the checkout page so people know, right? And then Needy writes, for the lifetime membership concerns, they went on sale. The price did not lower permanently. I have the right to make the sales whenever I'd like with my academy. This has been pinned on my page until today and posted in the Discord of the temporary sale date. So yeah, I do think that is being a little nitpicky, being like, oh, the prices are raised again necessarily. I mean, it makes sense to be concerned if he didn't know it was a sale. I think this is a reasonable explanation. I think not adding that it is not complete to the coffee is not reasonable, and you should definitely do that. So on this, I'm going to throw out a couple of thoughts. I do think you should be paid for your time. A lot of people are saying, why sell a course for this, when there's so many free stuff out there? Well, I would say that it takes a lot of time to put together a course, to put together a whole set of tutorials. So if you would like to choose to all the free resources, there's plenty available for you guys. If you would like to choose to buy a course from a creator, you can also do that. And then the creator who made the course can also get paid, not in YouTube ad revenue, but get paid through subscriptions to make money. So there is that option. Is the creator allowed to do this and make a course? Yeah, they are. Can it feel a little bad to pay for a course that you deem to be something that a lot of people have already covered for free on the internet. Yeah, that can't feel bad, right? I would say the final thought is releasing the course incompleted. That to me is a bit odd. Like, this is, again, the whole situation over and over and over again with this whole video is that my point, I feel like I've said this so many times. Like, technically it's allowed, but you know what I mean? She did disclose it. According to a screenshot that I found, it looks like it wasn't disclosed necessarily in the coffee, but she did mention it in her tweets. And she did mention it many, many times that it was incomplete. Right? So it is true that most people who bought it likely knew that the course was incomplete. Now, do I personally think it's ethical to sell an incomplete course, even though people know it's incomplete? I personally think so, because there is always a situation where you may not deliver on what you promise. And that is always a tricky thing to walk, you know, because there are no checks and balances. Like with a school, if it's a brand new course that's added to the school and maybe the curriculum isn't fully complete, although I don't know how you manage to get a course at the school without completing the curriculum to even show them, to be like, hey, I want to introduce this class, right? But hypothetically, maybe the curriculum isn't fully finished yet. There is like the school, the governing body of the school that is the checks and balances to hold you, the professor, accountable so that you finish the course. But there are no checks and balances when it comes to a Twitter user making a course, right? Because I would like to hope in good faith that Needy would finish the course in the future. There is always a world where it may not happen, and it may not even like fall through maliciously. Maybe life happened, etc., and she couldn't complete the course anymore. That could always be a possibility. So I personally think it's definitely risky to sell something when you haven't finished said item with like a, hey, trust me, it'll be done in the future. Because again, there are no checks and balances to guarantee you finish this in this scenario. A lot of people have asked me, because if you guys don't know, I do education on my other platforms, but people have always asked me why I've never made a course, even though I could easily make money from selling a course. And I know I could easily make money from selling a course. It's because of shit like this, right? Because there is always the criticism of, oh, if the material you provide in the course is not unique enough or special enough, then you are a scammer. Again, I personally think it's totally fair to be paid for your time, and some people choose to upload it to YouTube so it's free for the viewer, but that you get paid through YouTube ad revenue, and other people choose to paywall it behind a flat fee, so then like you can guarantee make money off of it, but the ceiling of the amount of money you can make might be lower because YouTube ad revenue can pay you back. So there is that. But yeah, that's like mainly the reason why, because I've put all of the information that I have for y'all free on the internet. So I don't know what I could tell you in a course that I haven't already told you for free. And I don't care about money like that. So I don't need to be making like what an extra X amount of money by selling a course. I am personally content with the amount of money that I make. So I would love to make more, obviously, in this economy, but I don't see a need to like try to put out a course. That's just me though. I'm not trying to say this as like a, I am holier than thou, I'm better than you for not making a course. Like, it's a lot of work to make one, and the other reason is also I'm fucking lazy. So yeah, that's also one of the reasons why I haven't done it. But it's difficult to make. It's an extremely high amount of upfront labor, and you do run the risk of people being dissatisfied with the information you provide in the course if it's not up to par. And yeah, so it does get to a very tricky scenario here. My personal biggest issue with this scenario is I don't think it should have been sold without being completed. It just, because it's a course, and then the whole other, you have to make fan art to be verified in her Discord. If that is true, that is fucking weird to me, right? Because like, that seems like a ploy to get free fan art out of people, you know? So I don't know why, is that the only method, right? Like, I understand maybe you want to verify they're a legitimate artist so that you want to make sure they didn't steal artwork, but could you not have them like link art they've made on their Twitter recently? Just like, oh, send me a link of like an art piece you've made on your social media within the last month so I can verify that you're real. Something like that. Does it have to be fan art of you? I just think that's a little bit interesting. And then here we have another person sharing their sentiment. They go by the handle of Hikari Hansha. And Hikari writes, I'm honestly extremely disappointed and sad. I really looked up to her. I wanted so badly to join her rigging classes to learn rigging to try and make it a career for myself since I'm struggling with no real income. It's a wonderful and amazing thing that she has done for the community to learn rigging. She even said she'd do monthly giveaways to help people have a chance for a free month. She gave me hope to have a possible chance of doing something I'm passionate in. She then changed the payments so that people can pay $100 only once instead of $75 a month, which made it near possible for me to finally be included. But to see all of this, now I know her true intentions. She may claim she's giving back to the community, but she's only doing it for her selfish benefit and clout. She claims she's irresponsible with her money, and instead of saving it on her own, she's openly expressing she's doing all of this that she gained fame from to go on a personal trip. She is also openly saying that she does it for profit. She's making a business, but I feel it's for the wrong reasons. Yes, you give many people opportunities to get things they either can't afford or get on their own somehow, but at the same time, you do snatch up so many adopts to the point where barely anybody gets a chance, or have said they drop out because of your bids, and you say it's not your fault. Then complain when people outbid you. You then say you want to put your name on it, end quote, which tells me you're only doing it for the fame to say, I rigged it, and get popularity out of it. It's like you're only doing it because you want the fortune. I feel with the growth you've made, it's become toxic and it's gotten to your head. I hope you realize this. You don't deserve to be bullied or witch hunted or canceled for mistakes, but taking accountability and acknowledging others pointing that out, I feel should be taken into consideration as a mature adult. You do have the right to block people, but if you do it just to avoid the issue at hand, thinking all of it will go away and blow over if you ignore it only makes it worse. It eventually will haunt you in the end. But that doesn't mean you can't make changes for the better. I'm sorry, I just couldn't hold my thoughts. So attached are some screenshots of posts that Needy made that I believe are down now. This one we've seen like part of it, right? But Needy writes, addressing concerns specifically in the post. From a giveaway creator to flip for profits. Yes, I am known for giveaways. It was even my intention to give away that model. But forgive me if for once in my life I tried doing something for myself, for my trip. Quote, she's always begging for money, but always doing this and buying adopts, end quote. Well, you're half correct. The reason I'm always broke is because I spend my entire paycheck on giveaways. The second I get money, I give it away to others. You can see if you're in my community that I always have some giveaway active. I know I manage money poorly, but I don't really see how that makes me a bad person. On a complete side note, this is my personal opinion. I'm somebody who's extremely passionate about finances, and here's the thing. Do I think it's fair for people to criticize other people's spending? Definitely feels bad, right? Being like, oh, this is how you should spend your money, yada, yada, yada. I really try not to do that to people. Even though I'm somebody that's very anal about my own finances, I save a lot of my money. I max out my Roth IRA every single year. I dump most of my money to a high yield savings account to, try to beat inflation. But the thing is, if you make a lot of posts talking about how you're broke, you are then inviting people to comment on your finances. That is just how it's gonna go. The same thing if you make posts talking about how much money you make, about talking about being rich, you are also inviting people to comment about your finances because you open the door to that conversation. You open the door to that conversation if you start talking about your money. So the second point is like, oh, you're always begging for money, but then you're spending it on this. You yourself, Needy, did open yourself, and this is not just Needy, but for everybody on Twitter who does this shit, people who like post, I'm not talking about people with like medical emergency stuff like that. I'm talking, oh my god, guys, I'm so broke, I can't afford this. And then you turn around and then you buy something. When you open that door to talk about your finances, talking about how broke you are, like, guys, please, like, Venmo me X amount of money, right? You then open the door for people to comment about your spending when you're spending on other stuff. That is just what's going to happen. If you don't want people to comment about your finances, don't fucking talk about it on the internet because people will then feel like they're entitled to their own opinion. You can argue, oh, is it valid for them to feel entitled to their talking about your finances? That's a separate conversation. They will do it if you open that door. And then Needy adds, I only bid on Adopt Side Door. I love them so much that I want to see them brought to life and have my name on them as the rigger. I don't just buy every cheap adopt and take it from people. I buy designs I want myself and love and can't seem to let go. Then I turn them into affordable models on flexible payment plans to help those who can't afford the design. And like, this is a very fair statement too, right? Like, oh, if you buy the model, you get it rigged and then, you sell it for something affordable, then maybe you can make it easier for people to become a VTuber. Like, I see the sentiment and I see the good intention in the sentiment. But then in execution, like we've looked at throughout this video, there's a couple of pitfalls that you can fall into. Pitfall number one with the original person who wanted the adopt, not wanting a VTuber model, but wanting it just for an OC. There's always that. And then the second thing, because we've seen this scenario play out, right? Like if you offer a flexible payment plan method, but then you let people who are rich enough to pay it lump sum outbid them, it does take away from the flexible payment plan option, Like it's not an option if somebody who is more rich can step in and kick them out because they could pay up front. And again, you're totally fair in wanting an upfront payment just because, you're out a lot of money. 5K is a big lump sum that could do wonders for people in one go. But then you can't really pull I offer payment plans to make it easier for people to afford card, because if people can outbid the payment plan, that defeats the purpose. And then Needy writes, you're crazy if you think I'm not allowed to bid on adopts that I love and adore because of the money I have. If I see an adopt I love, I want my name on it as the rigger. So I buy it and turn it into a model, yes, with affordable pricing and extremely flexible payment plans. And then Hikari adds, on top of that, you now make a post like it didn't happen and make a post of saying, quote, who wants clout because of me, end quote. It just feels so wrong. And then here's a post. So somebody writes, following from everything else you said, personally, I see no issue in you flipping models sometimes for profit. You are a businesswoman. Just so long as it's fine with all relevant parties you purchase things from if you intend to resell it. And Needy adds, and I almost never do this. They're almost always given away for free or sold for cheaper than it would cost if they commissioned it outside of my bundles. I did this one time for my trip, the one time I did something for myself instead of intentions for others. I realized late that this upset people and I sprung to action to speak to the artist to get it resolved. This is the thing too, because it does read a little manipulative, right? Like you being like, oh, the one time I did something for myself, everybody hates me. Like, you are allowed to make money for yourself. Nobody said you couldn't do that. The thing is, it's just the transparency, you know? If you made a post or something, you told them, hey, I have a trip coming up. I need to make some money to afford my trip. Would you be okay if I took your model and I bought it from you for $2,000 and I tried reselling it for $4,000? You asked that. And then they say yes. Again, with the whole situation of that tiger model, it was, I will give you two options. Either I will give it away or I will take it and get some more art and resell it for a little bit more. A little bit more is not $3,000 more. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Nobody said you couldn't do anything for yourself. Nobody said you couldn't try to make some money to front your trip. I literally leave for Japan in like 8 hours, okay, guys, right? I was hustling a little bit to make money for my trip. But you know what? That's fine. I'm totally allowed to do that. Just don't like undercut people in the process and not make your intentions clear. Okay, I did a sponsored stream like 2 weeks ago, right? And I literally on my stream was like, hey guys, I'm doing a sponsored stream because your girl's going to Japan in 2 weeks. So like, just bear with me guys. We're going to do this. Let me get that bread, okay? Then Needy adds, filling my wall with positive things now. Too much negativity for one day. Who could use a retweet boost? Maybe an Adoptable you're selling or a model reveal? Comment on the post below and I'll retweet some. We'll follow. I'm just going to throw in my 2 cents and maybe my opinion is a bit of a hot take. You can read into this as being manipulative, being like, oh, she's just trying to like clear her board and fill her feed with clutter and like other people's posts to like drown out the criticism or whatever. Or you could just be like, oh, this is just like a kind intention thing. Personally, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, right? I personally don't read this as something malicious. This is a post that she just tends to make in general. She just does this a lot. Whether it's because of controversy or not, I don't know, right? Basically, I would read it as a malicious thing if it was very out of character for her to do this and make a post being like, hey, give me some tweets, give me some posts, things to retweet, etc. Just because it tends to be in line with her character, I don't actually think it's malicious. Now, you might be like, oh, but the timing is bad because she's in this hot water. Also, when people are in hot water, there's never like a perfect reaction, you know? Like when somebody's in hot water, everything they do gets scrutinized and everything they do, like if they breathe, they're like, oh my God, yeah, you shouldn't be breathing, you know? All the criticism about her is extremely fair, like putting that out there. I do think this for me is like a little thing because like she's under so much flack for the last 24 hours with 20,000 exposés coming out about her. So she probably is like, oh, I don't know what the fuck to do. Go on stream, yap, and then, I don't know, put this shit out, right? You will always get scrutinized no matter what you do. So I personally don't think this is that big of a deal. Given everything else that's already happened, definitely all the other shit needs eyes on it. But we're gonna have some other stuff to look into, guys, because she be lying. So this is posted by Lynn on Twitter writing, also raising money for something and then going into the comments to say you're not actually doing that thing and saying you lied because it's easier is a bad thing to do. And Lynn says, I've been silent about this for so long, but oh my gosh, it makes me so sad seeing people get taken advantage of. And then another user by the name of Cherry writes, finally, oh my God. And Vina or Vinalicious makes a post writing, making people think you're saving up for a 3-month trip to Korea multiple times, but actually just having somebody over to visit you is misleading and bad. Be more straightforward with it in your main posts. And this is the post from Needy writing, my Korean trip is less than 2 months from now. I'd really like to gather some funds to throw into my savings for the trip, in case of emergencies, also for food and fun activities. My savings will never be touched for giveaways and such, so don't worry about me spending it, but I could really use as much help as I can get. This trip will be 3 months long. Please consider helping me. Any amount helps. And I will pay it forward as usual over time through giveaways. Link in comments. And then they replied to a commenter writing, oh, you're in Korea. That's awesome. Sadly, I won't be going there. I'm bringing a Korean to me. Hee. It's just easier to call it a Korean trip than to say a trip for my boyfriend to come visit me in America from Korea. This is fucked up. This is fucked up because going to Korea for a 3-month trip and bringing your Korean boyfriend to the US for 3 months, two really fucking different things. A lot of people might be willing to donate to you thinking you're gonna finally get a vacation, take some time off, have fun in Korea. Maybe Korea is their favorite country as well, so they want to like donate because they feel camaraderie. But if they find out they're donating to you for your fucking partner to come to the US and eat a bunch of food and shit, and you guys to go on trips together in the US, they're paying for your dates, bro. Like, that is not the fucking same. This is extremely disingenuous. I have a big problem with this because you're just fucking lying to your audience.
And then she also puts out a response for the Korean trip, writing, my Korean trip is short words I use for, quote, my Korean boyfriend is coming from South Korea to America to visit me, end quote, which I don't want to say every single time. But I did say that on stream multiple times that, quote, my Korean trip really means this, by the way, end quote. And most of my regulars knew that it was my boyfriend coming to me from Korea. I didn't know how to clarify who was going where. It's a trip between Korea and America that I'm paying for. The tickets, the resort, food, and supplies for 3 months worth, activities, etc. I'm not sure why people are trying to bring drama into that, but there's an explanation if you're demanding. Again, in my personal opinion, this is really, really, really fucked up and egregious, okay? I think for a lot of things in this whole needy scenario, you could put it in the, like, you could give benefit of doubt if you woke up feeling a little generous that day. This, you're straight bullshitting me, bro. Because what the fuck do you mean? Oh, it's like the same thing. It's like a trip between Korea and America. The issue is who is doing the trip, okay? When you say, my Korea trip, I am thinking you are going to Korea. I am going on a Japan trip. My flight leaves in like 3 hours, okay? I am going to Japan. Referring to it this way is the trip is not about you. The trip is you bringing somebody else here. So the celebratory events and stuff like that is all for this other person. It is not for you. And you might be like, well, it is for me because he's my boyfriend, da-da-da. We are paying for your boyfriend. That is the issue here, okay? That reads extremely disingenuous to me. And the thing is, again, with a lot of things, you could argue, oh, maybe she didn't know. You're stupid. I'm so sorry. That's so mean. There's no way you don't know how this reads. There's no way you don't realize, oh, like, if I say my Korea trip, people are going to think I am going to Korea. Anybody who has completed like a first grade education would understand that this is not how you word this.
All of the other stuff that we talked about previously, for the most part, it was a very big gray area where it was like, well, you're technically like allowed to do this. It's not ideal and it feels bad for all the parties involved, but you're like allowed to do it. It's technically legal, but you're just straight up lying about what you're doing. I know some people are gonna be like, oh, but like she's a VTuber, she's a streamer, so therefore she probably doesn't want to tell people, like be fully honest about what she's doing because she's afraid of stalkers, this, that, and the third. I've literally been streaming on Twitch for over 6 years. People have doxed me and sent pizzas to my house, bro, okay? Like, I get it. I've been through it. But you don't lie like this, you know what I mean? Like, I tell my audience that I'm going to Korea and Japan. I did lie about the dates I'm going, because obviously I don't want you at the fucking airport with me, but I did not lie about me going. I will physically be in Japan and Korea. I'm just lying about the dates a little bit, because I don't want you to be there when I'm there, you know? But this is different. If it was about safety, you could have worded it a little bit different, you know? Like, I'm going to Korea, da-da-da-da-da, right? Like, and then just fudge the dates a little bit so that, you know, it's a little bit safer. Or lie about the location in Korea. Like, tell people you're going to Busan when you're actually going to Seoul. So you're still in Korea, but for your safety, you fed them a little bit of wrong information. So people are a little bit confused if you do have a stalker. This is not the same thing because you're bringing a partner to the US. And so to me, this makes it even worse because again, we've seen the previous stuff, and in the previous stuff that we've seen about Needy, a lot of it was, oh, I needed money for my trip. I needed money for my trip, so I did this. I needed money for my trip, so I'm selling this. I needed money for my trip, so I upsold this model by $3,000. Your trip is you bringing your fucking boyfriend to America. That's just weird. Also, like, okay, I just think the wording of a Korean trip is weird. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I'm Chinese, I'm Asian. I've experienced a lot of microaggressions in my entire life for being Asian, for being Chinese, okay? But the wording of a Korean trip is weird because a Korean is what you refer to a Korean individual. When you go to Asia, you say my Asia trip, okay? When you're talking about an Asian person, right? Ethnically Chinese, so I am Asian, you say Asian. So you don't say my Asian trip because I could be reading too much into this, but it just sounds a little fetishy, right? Like I've just heard that narrative used around, and I'm not trying to claim Needy is. Because I am Chinese, I've experienced a lot of microaggressions for being Asian, and I just heard this wording a lot. So that's a tiny little thing. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. So now we have another situation, and this is with a creator by the name of Marina Sky on Twitter, writing, okay, So this is what I have to say about Needy VT as somebody who won her 20k giveaway. I don't have a fancy Twitter, so it's all in this doc. I just wanted to shed light on my experience and get it off my chest. So Marina writes, "Hello, my name is Marina and I am Needy VT's 20k follower giveaway winner. I am writing this to just shed some light on the fact that I am another person that Needy didn't follow through with. I want to preface that I fully acknowledge that these things are free for me since I won a contest. But what is the point of participating if what I'm promised isn't delivered and I'm forgotten about? The situation was not handled properly or managed right. By winning the 20k giveaway that was hosted September 2024, and this was promised. Attached images below. Follow these steps for a chance to win the ultimate VTuber package. Customer character design, ref sheet, fully rigged VTuber model with 3 expressions, fully rigged mascot, PNG tuber cozy style, bundle of 6 emotes, eye banner, profile icon of your model and mascot, an entire overlay bundle, and $100 to use in anything you like, and more." So here are the giveaway tweets where Juliet or Needy, this is on August 25th, 2024, writes, "A fan art event will be held once the winner design is created, where artists who wish to contribute can donate fan art of the design and help the winner with any extra assets, emotes, illustrations, anything. I know a few artists have already said that they want to participate in this, so if anyone else does, please just hang tight until the design is revealed, then I'll make an official post for the fan art event. You'll be able to participate by commenting on that post when it's made. So the winner, you'll have much more art to look forward to. Make sure you comment your entry on the post and not in this comment thread. Any questions should be asked here in the comment thread and not on the original post. It can be a design you already own, or let us make a new one for you. You can already have a VTuber model, you cannot be a VTuber at all. There are no limitations, anyone can enter. If you feel like you don't want one of the items from the prize pool because you want it from a different artist or don't need it or already have one, like a character design, please let me know if you win so I don't have to pay for something you won't use. You don't need to write this in your comment. I only need to know this if you win. Design will be custom, but all artwork like emotes and illustrations will be completely skipped with no revisions allowed. You can enter for a friend or partner, yes, but it's 1 entry per person. So if you enter for someone else, you yourself cannot enter. Rest assured you will not be buried in the crowd. I will manually read every single comment, even the hidden spam section. You may not DM me. Your entry must be posted in the comment section. You can be discreet about it and simplify it if you want to make it detailed, doesn't matter. Please consider following my Twitch as I debut in October. This does not boost your chance, it will just make me very happy. You will not be entered if you don't comment your design or design ideas. You may not message me your design. I'm sorry, but I don't want my DMs to drown out any more than they already are. You can be very vague about the design if you want to keep it private, like it's private but it will be a pink themed fox girl. Sorry for those wanting to keep it a complete secret, but I've hosted dozens of other giveaways where I let everyone DM me to be fair to everyone, but I just don't feel like dealing with a storm of DMs this time around. So you have to comment something vague at least or you can't participate, sorry. Winner will be chosen within 2 weeks, no exact date or time. Just to know what to expect, here's what the cozy PNG tuber would look like from Melumi. And the model art will most likely be from this artist, Solely Soul, but I have other options maybe for male characters. But just posting this so you see an example of what art quality to expect. And then Marina adds, I did receive the $100. I did receive a beautiful design made by Paula that came with a reference sheet, and that's it. She ended up hosting a fan art event for me with their community, made me some emotes and PNG tubers and art, but she herself never followed through on all the things that were promised. The only artist I know for a fact she was going to commission for something was Melumi, as shown above. She said everything else would be skep based off the design that won. She clearly writes to let her know if you don't need something so she doesn't commission that, which I never said I didn't. I work with Paula and received my design, but wanted some tweaks as well as a specific art style that my friend does. I asked Needy if it was okay for me to go and commission a new ref sheet that she could then give to the model artist, shown below. So Marina writes, hey Needy, sorry for the random message, but I wanted to ask if it's okay for me to tweak my character design and then when it's done, send you the ref sheet for the model. It won't be like a whole new character, just things like changing her hairstyle a little, adding a knife to her thigh, stuff like that, and then the art style just being a little less soft and cute. Since she's a guardian of the forest, I wanted her to give a more badass mommy vibes if that makes sense. She'll be in more this kind of art style. My friend made that, so she's going to help me with the design and ref sheet. It'll probably be done by the end of October. Sorry to bother you. And Needy says, depends on how complex the design looks. You can go ahead and make it and send it to me as long as it's done before we start on your model art. Marina says, of course, that's totally understandable. Thank you, Needy. You're the best. And October 15th, the ref sheet sketch was sent. Marina adds, I paid my friend a rush fee and she got the design done by the end of October like promised. After sending this to Needy, I never heard back. I received no update on anything for 4 months. I know life happens and people get busy, so I didn't say anything because I was telling myself, since I will be getting these things for free, I shouldn't rush or pressure Needy for or about anything. I just sat patiently waiting for something. Meanwhile, she continued hosting giveaways, commissioning artists, and giving other stuff that had also been promised to me. We talked here and there in the comments of posts, so I was around. I still said nothing because I didn't want to seem ungrateful for the character design, ref sheet, and $100 I did receive. A friend reached out to me January 27th, 2025, asking for an update on my model as they were excited to see it. I told them I had no update or ETA, that I really did not know anything. I also had not received so much that was promised from the giveaway. I was watching the 30K giveaway happen and all the beautiful assets that the winner received while I still sat here quietly. My friend encouraged me to just message Needy and see what was going on. I messaged Needy and this was our convo. Images below. So Marina writes, "Hey Needy, I'm sorry to bother you. I was just wondering if there's any update on my model. Last I saw, I think I was in queue, but that was a few months ago. I don't actually know who the artist and rigger are, so I don't know who to ask other than you. I also never asked during because I was waiting, since I know there was a lot going on. But there's a couple of stuff from the 20K giveaway I never got, and I was wondering about that too. Like the cozy PNG tuber, mascot rigged, profile photo of mascot and I banner, overlay bundle, and emote pack. I'm not complaining, I know that costs money and life happens. I was just looking for an update whenever you get the chance. And thank you for what you have done for me already, I really appreciate it." And Needy says, "You're still in order, you're either the next in line or the person after. On the 14th, I got a flat color update of the other giveaway winners since I chose 4. One of them is done, this one is currently in line, then yours will be next or the final one. I think I remember you sending me changes to your design. Could you resend them please so I can remind the artist?" And Marina says, "Yay, that's so exciting to hear. I can't wait. Thank you for the update. That one is coming out super cute so far. Here's the updated rough sheet of my character for the model and the other stuff. I haven't come up with a mascot yet. The artist is going to help with that. Or should I come up with one, then let you know?" And Needy says, "You'll need to come up with one and let me know, please." And Marina says, "Okay, sounds good. I'll be sure to let you know. In regard to the other stuff from the giveaway that I hadn't gotten, is there a timeline on that or did those fall through? Like the banner, cozy PNG tuber, emote pack, and overlay bundle. I understand things happen, I just want to know what to expect. Heart." And Needy says, "Sadly, those will have to wait a bit longer. I'm still very willing to get them for you, but I have a trip in 2 months that I need to save for, and it will be 3 months long. Then I'm good to splurge again after that." And Marina says, "Okay, that's totally fine. I'm okay waiting. Thank you for everything and for the updates. I appreciate it. I hope you have a lot of fun on that trip. I will take my time working on my mascot, and whenever I finish, I'll send it to you here for later." Marina writes, "I totally understand that models take time, so I am completely understanding about that and have no issues with that aspect. The model art had been started as of March 5th. I do wish you had given me some kind of update over the 4-month period, but life happens. In regards to everything else that was promised, though, it bothered me that I needed to ask about it twice in the one convo to get some type of acknowledgement for it after months of nothing. It felt reluctant and like I had to put myself right in her face to be seen. This was all while she was continuing to spend money on others and get art from friends to give to others. I felt very brushed to the side and forgotten about. If you couldn't afford to get me those things that were promised, 1, tell me that, and 2, she could have asked art friends to help like she does with so many other things. Seeing her buy all these adopts and then now all this with the model just leaves me feeling like she could have handled everything with me months ago before moving on to the next thing. I was so excited to win and was looking forward to everything just to be brushed under the rug. I'm very grateful for what I did get, but I didn't want people to think she followed through with me when she hadn't. I know that we talked in private and she said she would get the remainder after her trip, but it took me putting myself in her face to get there even after everything she said she had been doing in the meantime. This isn't how you should handle giveaways or treat somebody in general. I know by posting this I may lose out on getting anything, but I'm okay with that. I will save up and then get them or make them myself. I'll be leaving the rigging academy because I don't feel comfortable writing this doc while trying to gain something from her too. It feels dirty. But that's okay. I will learn from my wonderful friends and the online resources there are. Just make sure you follow through when you make such big promises to somebody and they are a person who has feelings. I never even received an apology, so I don't even know if she ever saw anything wrong with how I was treated. I wanted to say my piece and experience, so I will end this doc here. Just be smart, guys. Follow through on what you say and treat others properly. I appreciate my friends and community who have my back and are there for me. I am so scared to post this because I am much smaller, as well a very anxious, hypersensitive being to begin with, but I feel better after getting this off my chest." Hyrie writes, "Unironically, I have been following this incident. I felt a huge red flag when I saw there were no more poster updates about you getting anything from the giveaway. I am so disgusted by this. She just moved on and forgot you. I'm so sorry, Marina." And Marina says, "Yeah, I felt very brushed aside and invisible. I really didn't think anybody had noticed, so I just stayed quiet in my little corner. When Hex messaged me in January, it really validated that I had a right to be let down. I appreciate you noticing and for the kind words." And Hex Dolls adds, "I want to vouch for Marina here. I reached out to her in January, excited to draw her new design and model. I know everyone has different reasons why they're upset with Needy right now, but my biggest issue is not following through on promises. Giving away free things does not excuse letting people down, lying, misleading, and miscommunicating. Marina, you won that fair and square, and you deserve to be followed through with. I got your back any way I can help you. You're a beautiful, kind soul with a kick-ass design. I am sorry this happened, and I appreciate you sharing your story. I'm sorry to you and anyone else who ever felt swept under the rug and unable to speak on it out of fear. No one deserves that. And Marina says, thank you for seeing me, Hex, and being there for me. Again, every time it comes to situations like this, I feel like people are always very hot and cold, because a lot of people have the narrative, oh, well, you got something for free, or you won something for free, so you lost nothing by not getting it. You know, like that's a narrative that I've heard before, but I would still say it's still pretty disingenuous to have this whole big VTuber giveaway bundle that somebody wins and then they don't get it, because it's not the same as just like not receiving like a profile photo or whatever, you know. Like the whole thing about these VTuber design bundles is this is your character, this is your brand, you can make content with this VTuber model, you can stream. And so with cases where people win a VTuber model and design everything, right? Like they might have had plans to debut in 6 months, but they were like, oh, I don't need to buy all this stuff because I won this giveaway, so I'm gonna get it and then I'm gonna be able to debut, all will be good. Like you blue ball them and they have to put a lot of their plans on hold because there is this promise that they're gonna receive things from you that you've promised them with this giveaway winning. And again, I personally don't really like the narrative, it depends on the scenario, right? Of like, oh, it was free, so therefore you can't complain. Because there's been cases in the past as well of people hosting a bunch of giveaways and then they would never deliver on it, right? Not in this case because Marina did get some of the stuff, but the other people I've talked about, they would never deliver. And then they would just continuously farm clout on social media with these fake giveaways where nobody wins. So that's just something I wanted to add here. I completely support Marina, right? Like a little bit of communication goes a long way, and something like, oh, hey, you know, like da-da-da-da-da, this is the status of your model, any updates on your emotes, any updates on the mascot, whatever, like to facilitate that conversation is very important. And I would say too, I do feel like it's quite poor planning to be like, oh, I can't afford this stuff anymore because I have my trip. It's not even her trip, it's her boyfriend coming to America. Like, what do you mean you can't buy the artwork for Marina that you promised them because you need to save money for your boyfriend? Like, I get it, your partner's here, you want to celebrate. Like, you knew this trip was happening no matter what, right? It's supposed to be in like March, I think. Like, it was supposed to be 2 months later, but in January she said, oh, in 2 months I have a trip, so that should be this month now. You knew this trip was happening. So when you hosted the giveaway, what happened to setting aside? Like, did you not set aside money for this? I don't know, right? I feel like, I mean, she did say that she's pretty poor in handling finances, so if you hosted this big giveaway and did not set aside a budget to give away, what are you doing? It's planned so poorly. And then we kindly have Izu in the comments offering their services, writing, in the end, if you need a rigger, let me know and I'll do it for free. I am so sorry this happened to you. And Marina says, aw, Izu, that means a lot. Thank you for this. I'll be sure to keep everyone updated as I go. I appreciate you, heart.
So because of all this controversy that's come out, we have people revoking their models from Needy. So here we have Celine, who goes by the Twitter handle Simmer Vanally, writing, I am publicly revoking permission for Needy VT to be able to give away, sell, or whatever she has planned for my old model I donated a long time ago. I no longer trust her to find the model a truly loving home. I will work hard with my non-existent reach to hopefully find her a home. I deeply respect my model mama and also don't want there to ever be a possible chance for Needy's community to come for her if more controversies arrive in the future, which I'm sure will happen. And they linked the giveaway for it. And people who've won previous models from Needy don't know what to do. So here we have Buggy VT, who won the 30,000 follower giveaway, writing, please read. Okay, I know some people are waiting for my response, so here goes, I guess. With myself being Needy's 30,000 follower giveaway winner, I am grateful to the artists who participated, and I am partially grateful to Needy for giving me the model and giving me so much more. However, I cannot defend the actions she has done. After reading through countless people's posts and threads and seeing what she has done, I cannot condone her actions and I cannot defend her this time. And I can't lie, at this moment in time with my brain spiraling, it does not feel right to use my model. I love my design and art mamas, but it feels wrong to use the model knowing Needy was the one to rig it and give it to me. I feel like a break from using the model would do some good, maybe use Suika's model in the meantime, if I can get the funds for it, or just a PNG. But at the moment, it doesn't settle well with me. Any advice you guys have on this, I would greatly appreciate too. To kind of help me settle the thoughts in my mind, to reassure me, I don't know, sorry. And they have a dono goal for the model and a new rig. And by the way, again, don't send hate to anybody involved. Like, it's always a tricky scenario if you're somebody who has purchased art or things in general from a controversial figure who has gotten canceled because you already have it. So what do you do moving forward? And we have two other people who've also talked about their experience. Here we have Lumi Rage writing, finally, seriously, finally she got exposed. Let me tell you something. I have been a victim of Needy's behavior. She has helped me with RAM I needed, so at the time I felt in debt with her and I genuinely thought she was a kind person. And I must admit that I at her in post of help. And I only at her not for her to pay me things, but for exposure on the post if she wanted to. That was the reason of why she blocked me. I've been silent about this because I'm scared of being harassed by her 30,000 following or herself. It's totally unacceptable behavior and it's disgusting in my opinion. Oh, and by the way, I drew her as a way to say thank you for helping me. Wish I didn't do so. Maybe I'm stupid. And here we have Shrike, who goes by Shrike for me VT, writing, guess I should share my opinion on the issue as Needy VT is how I got my design. Back in June, I won my design for my giveaway done by Needy. I was over the moon. The next 2 days, I did as much research as I could about owning the design. And this is the design in question. That's when I realized I had no clue what rights I had, didn't know what I could do and couldn't do. So I asked. Turns out she didn't know, which isn't a huge deal, and told me she was more of a platform to help people start VTubing than helping them herself. And here Shrike asks, hey, you wouldn't happen to know if it had commercial included or not. Just want to find out so I can start gathering everything needed for my profile. And Needy says, I wouldn't, sorry. You can message the person I tagged that donated it and ask though. And Shrike says, figured out much, no worries. And Needy says, no problem. That's when things started to change. I saw less free giveaways and more selling. This felt off to me, so I started to distance myself. I never unfollowed, however, as I still saw the nice comments and thought I was just too worried. Clearly, I wasn't. Sometimes I thought about how she could be helpful at all without spending money so she wouldn't have to sell stuff, like holding those fan art events for small VTubers that never get fan art, or maybe reaching out to past giveaway winners to see how they're doing, answer any question they have and such. To me, support and time is way more valuable. Then came the best friend applications. You had to apply just to be her friend. It was like applying for an effing job. She wanted to know everything. Here's the tweets. So this is one tweet about it, looking for people to be more than just followers. And then the applications. I guess I've said how I felt. It feels good to now know that I wasn't in the wrong, that there were some red flags, but I was so desperate for some support or somebody to become my friend at the time that I ignored them. I've got friends now and I'm happy. I love my design and my design mama. It's how I was truly able to start. This design helped me finally feel like a VTuber. It means the whole world to me. If you read all this, thank you. I know it's not exactly a call out, but I wanted to share my experiences with her. TLDR, she gave me the ick, so I didn't try to interact after I won. Saw some weird things, though, that I definitely remember. And Vel writes, as somebody who donated a design, I was never told it was even chosen or who. Never once was I asked about personal or commercial usage either, just about the artist. It was just posted and I was not contacted again. And Shrike says, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope one day you find them. And this is a TLDR written by Baku the Devil, writing, outbids VTubers needing a model, rigs the model, applies service fees on top of OG price, sells model to turn a major profit, dries up the market for new VTubers and those with lower expenditure. I'm giving back to the community, guys. Apologies for the audio quality, guys. I am literally at the airport right now. But we have another user by the name of Bonpon who writes, but yeah, anyways, I sold for 420 euros and resold for 600 USD. I don't know the fees and currency conversion, or maybe there's some more added, but either way, the fact that it was within 1 hour of her purchasing from me without proper credit. I was like, I bought this design, it isn't cool. And everyone's being like, hey, that's so cool. And I'm like, hello, I actually made that. On the sidelines, just felt so gross. Why flip it so fast? And then Bonpon adds an update rating. Okay, it was actually worse than I thought. I'm not going to say any more on it though. If you want a cool design adopt, browse my wares. I do adopts pretty often. And then here under Nari's comments, Bonpon confirms that yes, this is about Needy. And then this seems to be the person that is the one who got the model, and they go by the handle Ocean. And they write, in regards to my design and who I brought the designs from, I believe we have come to a mutual understanding and I will be unfollowing them. But I harbor no ill will towards her personally, but I cannot continue anything further, model art, etc., as I believe it would go against my personal values. I'm very saddened that I will not be able to get a custom model sooner rather than later, but I believe it's for the best. Thank you all. I will not be saying anything further on this to not fuel the fire. This is not about the artist. And then we have a post from another VTuber by the name of Hannah May VTuber writing, please read, this is important. I was afraid to speak on the Needy VT situation because I was a client and was afraid of being blocked before I heard back from her. Although it was fortunate not to be the case, yesterday and this morning I felt so scared of retaliation, I was unable to have the courage to come forward sooner, and for that I apologize. Everything now has been resolved privately between us in DMs, and I am no longer receiving a rigging from Needy or Juliet. She even went as far to refund back my rigging when I had only asked for the rush fee and art files, as I only spoke through her to communicate with the artist for my bundle. While I am grateful to her for the fast response and refunding me, I still do not condone her actions or behavior towards artists, past clients, and even giveaway winners. I appreciate all the good Needy and Juliet has done in this community, but after reading all the posts and threads, seeing the damage done, and watching the clips, I am unable to remain mutuals and have unfollowed her. I have already lost several mutuals in the time I was waiting to hear back, so I ask if you know somebody who is a rigged child and client of Needy that you either reach out privately or please wait before unfollowing due to association, as you don't know their situation. However, this situation has greatly affected my debut, which is June 11th, as I had paid a rush fee for the rigging to be finished by May. Regardless of whether I can find a rigger willing and able to finish my model in time for debut, I will be debuting with or without this model. I owe it all to you and myself and refuse to postpone it again after waiting an entire year. To everyone I may have hurt with my silence, I am sorry. Even now, I have learned a lesson myself, and I won't hesitate to speak out anymore. Always remember that communication is crucial and kindness is a muscle. The more you exercise, the stronger it grows. Mate. So about the scythe model, remember that was the split-haired bunny model. The artist Kai put out an update writing, "It completely broke my heart to learn that my design baby, Scythe Bun, had to spend a whopping $500 to purchase her current design from that one VTuber instead of $460, as stated in my established commercial price info for her, while claiming that $500 was the exact amount she paid for. Needy was never being open about the prices she charged her and my customers in our DMs. Back when my Ice Sorcerer Adopt got bought and got put up for sale again on her profile, I was checking her coffee shop, looking for at least a glimpse of the total model package cost, and unlike her previous bundles, mine were never seen up there. Both Ice Sorcerer and Two-Tone Hair Bunny. Such a bummer that I had to find out about the total values through my design daughter reaching out to me." So again, screenshot, and you can see Juliet or Needy paid $460 for the Fallen Angel Bunny. So Kai writes, "While I know the inflated $40 might be nothing compared to the damages she had inflicted on her other several victims, there's no denying that it was still the money she took from my design daughter, let alone the fact that she blatantly lied to Scythe. DM'd the owner of Ice Sorcerer this morning and got told he had been waiting for a response regarding the model from Needy for a while already. Even though she stated that the model was coming to its finishing stage, no model's artist name had ever gotten disclosed. This deeply concerns me. Scythe had been refunded by Needy already, and the owner of Ice Guy had the composure of a saint, more than I do at least. I also saw her attempting to settle up the dumpster fire she caused already, so this is just for me to get this out of my chest and the actual receipt of how much I received for Angel Bunny." And this is Scythe talking about the scenario, writing, "Update, Needy will refund the money. I am waiting for it at the moment. Yes, she shouldn't have upped the price in the first place. It's outrageous to lie about the original price. Until I found out. Please, if you're experiencing this, reach out to all parties involved so they are aware." So then we have a situation with Dodo VT, writing, "Since everyone is sharing their interactions with Needy, I will too, without the names blocked out, as well as my favorite Needy quote. Quote, 'Oh, rip that girl, she just cast bad luck on herself,' end quote. And she sure did. She bought an Adopt based on painful, I am so sorry, my pronunciation is really bad. She bought an Adopt based on painful Algonquin history and turned it kawaii. When people expressed to her that what she was doing wasn't okay and the history behind the spirit she was trying to sell, she told them they were ruining her sales and messing with her profit. Replied to everybody who wasn't indigenous that they shouldn't be offended on our behalf. When I showed up and expressed how wrong it was as somebody who is Algonquin and was raised with my culture, block, post deleted, post remade, sale made, culture ignored. She doesn't care about people unless they are larger than her. She doesn't care about smaller voices that can't affect her. She only cares about herself. Indigenous voices matter. Indigenous culture matters. Indigenous history matters." And Needy writes, "Just because some believe in that doesn't mean I do or others do. Same as we shouldn't praise devils or demons in some cultures, but a lot of VTubers celebrate being those creatures. In the end, we can't force certain beliefs on others, and if somebody wants to be a or a demon or a siren or kitsune, that's up to them and their beliefs. To me, a is just a fake mythical creature and nothing more than a ghost story, even in one of my favorite scary games, Until Dawn. They're using games, shows, and books, so I can't see why not a VTuber model. I can't really base my business around other cultures' beliefs, or I wouldn't be able to produce literally any mythical creature. Some are sacred, some shouldn't be spoken of, etc. I don't think it offends anyone personally. I think they might see it and think, oh, rip that girl, she's just cast bad luck on herself, or something along those lines, but wouldn't necessarily be offended. Unless you are offended, I don't think you should speak for others and create issues if there aren't any." And then Dodo adds screenshots. So attached are the adopts, and here you can see Needy bid $150, and then Needy added, VTuber model for sale. And then somebody writes, okay, I'm not native, so if somebody is, please tell me if this is okay, but I don't think making this creature into a VTuber is a good or respectful idea. Needy says, why not? And the commenter replies, mostly because I've seen Native Americans speak out in the past that you shouldn't depict or even mention its name out loud as to not attract or invoke the creature or its bad karma. It's a bit different from the kitsune and yokai because it's not just a cryptid, but part of a belief system. And then we have some commenters trying to educate Needy on this, and then Needy says, well, I'm not the design artist, that's how I bought it, and it's not my place to change the design artist's vision, especially when I believe none of that is real and it's just a mythical creature and nothing more than a creative, unique idea. This will definitely harm any sales though. As you commented on the sale post rather than privately, you may have scared customers away in fear of VTuber drama happening to them. I hope that will not be the case, and I hope it doesn't offend anyone who does believe in this stuff, as that's not my intention to offend. But I can't just obey every culture's beliefs, as that would lead to conflicting results and would completely remove the creativity behind a VTuber. And then Dodo writes, I'm indigenous and this directly applies to my people's culture and history. It is incredibly disrespectful and disingenuous to represent yourself as one of these entities without understanding the weight of this history behind the entity. Please, please, please do not portray yourself as one of these creatures. This is so incredibly bad. Then you can see Needy block them. And Needy writes, hi, if you guys have any questions, concerns, or comments about me or my content, please ask me in DMs and not comment or quote retweet me, publicly calling me out. We can talk it over. And then it was renamed as Forest Spirit and sold. Now, my 2 cents on this, and I can't comment on like the culture aspect of it because I am Chinese and not indigenous, but I will say that a lot of times when people, marginalized groups, are talking about their culture, their experiences, and hey, this is not respectful to our culture, I personally just don't like it when people who are not involved in the culture try to steamroll over them, being like, well, it's not a big deal, or you're overreacting, or this, that, and the third. Like, who are you to tell the person who is affected that they're overreacting when you do not understand the cultural significance? And you are not the affected party anyways because you are not of a marginalized group. And specifically that marginalized group too, right? I just hate that narrative. It always pisses me off. And Needy put out an apology. So Needy writes, hello everyone. I wanted to formally say I'm sorry here. From the bottom of my heart, I am truly sorry. I'm the issue here and I'm trying very hard to fix it. Please allow me some time to do so. I think the best course of action is for me to deplatform, and I will work on doing that. I'm still going to stream on Twitch as a content creator, and I'm still going to run my academy and work on my commissions. I'll get off social media entirely for my own mental and physical health, and I think it's the best for the community if I weren't in it. My page will still be up, and I'm looking out for messages for things I need to fix. I'll, of course, still contact my rig babies through DMs and continue working hard on their rigs to deliver quality work. If you're unable to reach out because of a block, just reach out through a friend to unblock. Due to being overwhelmed, I blocked things as I read the first line. I'm sorry if some artists got mixed up in that, and I'm really sorry to have disappointed you guys this much. I'm truly very sorry. Please know that I'm doing everything I can to slowly fix things, and I hope you find the strength in your heart to wait it out and see that happen, and then I will leave the platform. Though I am waiting for some DMs to fix things, I may need to step away for just a few days, so please do not worry if I don't respond right away. I will be back as soon as I can and will work things out. Again, I am just so sorry for all this mess. Design donations are all canceled since I won't be there to post them. I'll edit my Adopt sales too when I get to my PC. It'll be a while, but don't worry, I won't sell them unless I paid for them. Anything donated is fully returned. And then Needy writes, graduating. I refund over $8,000 to people who would no longer like to work with me or be my rig baby, as well as making up for past mistakes. I understand everyone wants a refund from me because they do not wish to be my rig baby anymore or have anything to do with me, but I do not allow refunds. I was only allowing this many due to circumstance, and I don't want to burden anyone to be stuck with me. I don't have any money left to refund now. My PayPal is no longer usable. I'm really sorry. For those who are working on a payment plan with me for a model bundle, if you do not wish to continue payments, that's perfectly fine and you may keep the designs, but I cannot refund you. I will reach out to my rig babies with updates on their models until I complete them all, but I won't be using Twitter for anything else or logging on much, nor on my business Discord either, named Juliet. So it may take a day or a few days or so to hear back from me, but I'll reply soon. I'm working on my petting commissions now. Your model art is still being made through the artist. You can check out my Trello anytime for an update on your spot in line. Once all commissions are done and clear, I'll delete my Twitter, but my Discord will be up for Academy members as I owe them a lifetime. It was nice meeting you guys and thank you for the journey. To be more clear, regarding some DMs and screenshot posts, it is graduating, yes. I'm quitting my career, deleting my socials except Twitch. I'm graduating my model and won't be VTubing or VTweeting. There's a lot to think over and decide how I'm gonna stream, but I'm considering this graduating. I don't know. I'm graduating by leaving the community as requested by many and as I would like to personally, and quitting as a rigger after I finish my commissions. And yes, commissions will still be open for past babies if they need add-ons or changes. And Rennie adds, I'm so sorry to hear this, Juliet, but I understand. The amount of hate I've been seeing is ridiculous, and even though there is some valid criticism, it's completely drowned out by some things taken out of context and dogpiling. I don't blame you for wanting out of the VTuber community at this point. And Needy says, definitely some valid words, but I'm seeing way more witch hunt behavior than people who just genuinely want to give advice or criticism. A lot of people feel like graduating isn't the correct course of action, but Needy writes, no matter what I do, there is no winning. If I apologize, I'm fake. If I delete drama posts, I'm hiding. If I keep them up, I'm a drama bait account. If I do nothing, I'm not taking accountability. If I refund everyone, I'm doing damage control to cover my ass. Nothing I can do will make people stop making Google Docs and videos and clipping me out of context and spreading the wildest lies about me. I made huge mistakes. Not everything being said is a lie, but nothing I can do will make them stop. And I'm not mentally strong enough to sit every day and read people telling me to end myself, threatening me, and how much of a see you next Tuesday and a B I am. Sharing praise that they cancel me and celebrating amongst one another. I don't know what the correct choice is because really there isn't one. I am just really sorry. This is just how it happens, you know? If you do get canceled, you can't win. Everybody will find something to nitpick you about. That's just how it's gonna be. Over time, people forget things. Literally, Valkyrie thought the world was burning down when she got canceled for her blue light glasses shit. And you know what? Nobody fucking remembers. That's just how the internet goes. The lifespan lasts about 3 days max, maybe 1 week tops, if it's like a hot topic. Again, there's a lot of witch hunting. There's a lot of death threats, whatever. That is never okay. I don't think it's okay to be sending hate to people like that. It just makes you a bad person. And I do want to end with this post by Curse Synergy, who writes, there's a difference between criticism and hate. I wish we were kinder to each other, and I wish we were open to healthy criticism. I will not say anything as it's not my place, but I can't stand seeing all this negativity over my feed. If we are to hold somebody accountable for their actions, we must do so with respect. We cannot use name calling. We cannot ever tell somebody to harm themselves. I keep being told this is an adult community. This is an 18+ community. It's not if we can't act like adults. When criticizing somebody, do so with respect. Do not be an a-hole. Do not say, I told you so. It's immature. Yes, concerns are valid and the situation is effed, but be adults, don't tell anyone to harm themselves. Do better. And to this, I fully agree. At the end of the day, as much as all the things that Needy has done, etc., right, which is a lot of bad stuff, we've gone over a lot. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's going to be hefty. But I've seen the comments that people leave, not just for Needy, but other people in general, and your criticism goes out the window if you start throwing a fuck ton of insults into your criticism. That doesn't make it like criticism anymore. That just makes you a dick, okay? And I always say this, but honesty without kindness is just brutality, okay? We can recognize that Needy fucked up in like 50 different ways and has a lot of wrong to correct. Telling people to off themselves is not how you fix the problem, okay? And I just think a lot of the internet in general just does this because the anonymity, etc., you can get away with telling people to end themselves and not get a restraining order against you because your face isn't visible, which causes a lot of issues as it is. But I think the world could do a lot of good with more kindness. I know I said I wasn't going to do an update, but then there was an update when I was physically at the airport, like about to board the plane. Needy DM'd me, and I just wanted to share this with you guys so that we can kind of see a little insight onto kind of their side of things. And Needy writes, there are so many lies made up about me. Out of context screenshots and Twitch clips that are twisted and lied about. But even with proof and my own words of intentions, I cannot speak up for myself without getting attacked. And they would not believe me anyways because they hate me so much. Like referring to Twitter users. And I can't understand why. I spent 3 years emptying my bank account into them in giveaways. 3 years of hard effort in providing a platform for smaller artists, shouting them out, buying their emergency commissions when I wasn't interested, tipping them greatly. I did so many great things. But these people won't come forward because they're scared, as anyone who even speaks nicely of me is attacked. My rig babies have been attacked. My academy students have been as well. 3 years worth of good deeds ended over a mistake that I instantly corrected and got approval of from the model artist and the new owner. Despite what Twitter is saying, that is true. Both were okay with it after they learned. Even if they changed their mind after Twitter blew up, I don't know. But they were okay with it, and I can gladly provide proof you may need. I made a mistake by not talking to the artist, including the design artist first, because the model was being sold to me. I asked if I was allowed to resell it, and she said yes. So I assumed that model being passed around so much meant it was okay. I should have checked. They're right. I should have double-checked and not taken the seller's word. But again, I instantly made up for that mistake and contacted the model artist immediately. I made other mistakes, but the VTuber community has not allowed me to make it better with other people. Instead, they attacked me and slandered me and made up lies and demands. They did not give me a chance to make things better. For my own mental health, I just had to start mass blocking. I couldn't bear to read the witch hunts, so I read the first line, and if it was negative sounding, I blocked it. I made posts and replies that if an artist was blocked, to just have a friend reach out and I would unblock them. They didn't care I said that. They wanted to attack me anyways. Not one single person reached out to me to unblock somebody. They did not give me a chance to make things right. Despite all of that, I still refunded over $8,000 worth of rigging and models from people who are disgusted by me and don't want me to be their rigger. I refunded them until I'm negative. Then I have so many PayPal cases against me. I'm trying hard to fight them, but likely I will lose my bank account to negative amounts and be left with no form of payment method and no way to pay my bills or feed myself. They already took me off Twitter and kicked me out of the VTubing community, but it is not enough for them. They keep going. They want me dead, on the street starving because I bought a model and I flipped it, like anyone in the real world does. Everything else being said about me is lies. Though of course there's probably some true stories out there of misunderstandings I could easily fix, like I did with the Uta Inzi issue. But I don't have the strength to open Twitter anymore and check. Anything I need to fix is drowned out by the pure hate and death wishes. I posted just a tiny amount on my Twitter. You can find it in recent posts, for example. If I really scammed all of these artists for 3 years, why is it only coming out now? Because it's false. Exaggerated stories or completely made up stories, or a few were genuine mistakes of me misreading, a common human error that is instantly corrected. To the artists that reached out to me in DMs anyways, not the ones making public call-out posts and I block without reading what was up, just due to the attacks. Another thing I like to cover is my academy. Before the incident, it was people posting videos about how grateful they were for it and how easy and simple to understand I made it. I retweeted some over time. Maybe you can find a couple posts if you use the hashtag JL2DA, but they have deleted it as they're being attacked now. Now that this has come out, people are lying that my course is bad because my rigging skill is bad and amateur. They say awful mean things about my rigging that would get anyone canceled, but since it's about me, it's fine to say. They are mass refunding while still having full access to my academy and all of its content still. They're breaking my TOS, which is the exact reason they're mad at me. Very hypocritical. I have made mistakes. I was willing to fix them and I did try at first. But again, they won't allow me to. No matter what I do, they will still attack me. Forgive me for the absurdly long paragraph, as I have a lot pent up and can't speak up for myself. I made mistakes, but they kicked out somebody who had genuinely good intentions and helped a lot of people. So I have my own personal thoughts about what she said. Given that really long-winded paragraph, right, that she said to me, I do want to note that the DMs are likely very emotion-ridden because she's probably spiraling. So when I was kind of reading the DMs, I was trying to read like the general sentiment of the words that she said and maybe not the emotions behind it, because when you are getting this canceled on Twitter, you're just going to be emotional. That's just how it's going to play out. So the first one that I feel like she's expressed, and this wasn't in the DMs to me, but kind of just on the internet in general, is there has been like a frustration with her graduating that has been expressed. So my thoughts on this is that I can completely understand people being frustrated with Needy graduating because it can be seen as her running away from responsibilities, running away from having to be accountable or held accountable for her actions. I personally do think that in her scenario and with people who are canceled, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if she were to choose to stay in the community, a lot of people in a previous post that I read to you were like, oh, like, I'm sure the community would have welcomed her back, etc. I personally actually don't think so. There is a large chunk that would not, so there's gonna be a big chunk of people who are probably like, oh, how dare she still stay in the community after all she did? Like, she has the audacity to show her face. There's just gonna be people like that. And then on the flip side of the coin, if she does graduate, there's gonna be a whole bunch of people that are like, oh, she's running away from responsibilities. The thing is, it's kind of like a lose-lose. And again, you are very, very valid in feeling the way you feel. If you've been affected by Needy and like her graduating, you feel like you can't get an adequate conclusion of what happened because it feels like she ran away from her responsibilities, you're very entitled to feel that. I just wanted to point out that when you're getting canceled, you're fucked no matter what. No matter what you do, you're just fucked. Like, that's just how it is. So I do think that while it may not be a satisfactory resolution to those affected, I've seen her share her sentiment that her mental health from content creation in general hasn't been well. This is just over the tweets over the course of time, because I would see it pop up on my timeline where she would be like, oh, this happened, like my mental health is really bad, or like, I don't know if I want to stay in this. I've seen those tweets, and I feel like if you are in a position where you do have those thoughts, where you are really walking the line of whether you want to be here or not here, and you're not sure, but you keep posting about negative things and like negative experiences you've had, generally the best solution for your mental health is to step away from the community and that space to better your mental health. My second point, and this is the first point that was brought up in the DMs, is that she feels that people are attacking her and scrutinizing all of her behavior. People are attacking me. They want me to die, This is just what happens when you get canceled. All of your behavior when you get canceled gets scrutinized under a microscope with hindsight bias, with people trying to read the worst intentions out of everything you've done. That is just what's going to happen. And the thing is, this is what comes with being a content creator, and sometimes people aren't prepared for this. We've all seen cancellations. We've seen big creators get canceled, like James Charles got canceled, Jeffree Star got canceled, Shane Dawson was canceled. All of these big creators were canceled. But like us content creators, not the huge ones, right? Like us smaller content creators, we don't think it's gonna happen to us. We're like, oh, is that a problem? Right? So you're not prepared for it, to be blunt, right? Because Needy feels like, oh, like everybody hates me, In my opinion, you're not special having like a special fan posse that is drawing a pentagram on the floor and chanting and praying on your downfall. Like me personally, I've had that happen when I've been canceled on TikTok for educational content. Somebody made like an 8-video expose on me being like, yeah, this is why Kat's a bad person. Like I knew why. She uses clickbait and doesn't give proper information. But there were just a whole bunch of people that crawled out of the woodworks being like, yeah, I knew Kat was a piece of shit. Yeah, I knew she was a bad person. I knew she didn't want to help people be Twitch streamers. And this is my content on TikTok if you don't follow me there. I do like educational stuff. I've done it for like 5 years. I also had all of Gideon's fan base come and try to cancel me because I said Gideon was a clown for hate rating Pokey. So in where Needy says along the lines of, quote, they want me homeless and starving, etc., I think Needy being in the space has affected her mental state and thinking that everything is a personal slight against her as a person. And I do want to add that it might sound like an exaggeration of her being like, oh, they want me homeless, whatever. From my memory, I believe that she has been homeless in the past just from stuff that she's tweeted out. So it might be like a trauma thing of like, oh shit, I escaped homelessness, I escaped this, I escaped poverty, and now I am threatened with being put back into the position I thought I escaped from. So I think that could be a rooted trauma of not wanting to return to that situation, and that's like a fear. Or it could be an over-exaggeration, right? Like, I do not know her life. I view everything as a mindset thing. So you can see all these people on Twitter canceling you as a personal attack against you since they're commenting so much about you as a person. Or you can kind of see it as internet people leaving their 2 cents in the comment section because when shit goes down, internet people like to leave their 2 cents in comment sections. And it might sound a bit preposterous because you're going to be like, well, Kat, I am getting canceled, so it is about me. It is, but it's also not, because it's about like how much they know of you, and most of the people who are leaving comments know very, very little about you. And typically it's only about the thing that is currently trending on social media. And so I personally view it as the second when people are leaving their comments, right? And of course, there might be one obscure person preying on your downfall, but honestly, truly, it is not in the forefront of everyone's minds like you may feel it is. And if there are people out there where the first thought in their head in the morning and their last thought when they go to sleep is your downfall, your homelessness, and them wanting to get you to end your life, then I would think that they have problems, As somebody who has received death threats, which is as fucked up as it is, don't send those to people. I honestly think that most people who told me to end myself don't even remember they did so. One time I had somebody come into my stream and say a bunch of racist stuff, and then they, like 2 years later, sent an unban request, because I guess they noticed they were banned, and they saw the messages of why they were banned, and they're like, oh shit, I didn't even remember I sent that. So I'm not saying that Needy is like this, but a lot of creators who get into controversy have a very strong desire to spread their truth, and in every situation there are 2 sides and the objective truth, and many people misconstrue their side as being the objective truth. Many scenarios also fall into a big gray area where neither party is fully wrong or both parties effed up. I feel that Needy has a truth that is valid in being her truth. For example, like that she got permission to upsell the model, which is true. Or, like, oh, I didn't know that I had to disclose to people that when I say Korea trip, I meant my boyfriend was coming, not me going to Korea. And she did say that she talked about it on her stream, but, like talking about it on social media, not everybody has seen parts of her stream where she's talking about it. But I feel like Needy fails to realize that there's a gray middle ground that exists as well. And honestly, at the ripe old age of 24, I am still maturing and growing as a person, and it's a concept that honestly, I didn't really grasp till recently. Like, I obviously I knew about it, but like putting it into practice of how I viewed the world, I didn't really implement it like that. So you feeling that you got permission to upsell, so therefore any amount is okay, could be your side. And then for Ketsney or Mao's side, their side could be that they allowed you to upsell with an unspoken expectation that it would be reasonable, right? And that would include just the cost of art, etc., and not an egregious amount. And so because you upsold it for $4,000 plus $1,000 for art, and you felt that it was okay because you got permission, right? That was your side. Mao's side probably felt unfair because that wasn't what she meant when she said okay to that. And at the end of the day, there's your side, Mao's side, and then everyone will come to their own conclusion of what happened. And then about the stream thing, the stream clips that she was talking about, I feel like Needy reacted emotionally on stream because, well, 1, she was exposed, and that will always trigger an emotional response. But again, 2, because she feels like it's not the truth, or her truth, right? Again, I feel in situations we can acknowledge that there is her truth where she got permission, the truth of now, and what happened. And then also about the internet people leaving their 2 cents. Their opinion is valid as their opinion. In my opinion, those people who think that the people on the internet who get canceled and think, oh my god, they don't have the true story, the true side of the story, they tend to crash out online because they don't recognize that people are allowed to have their opinions. And again, I'm not saying media is like this. This is just a general observation I've made as somebody who has covered so many people who have been canceled online. Also, you can't snap your fingers and brainwash everybody to your truth. I've seen creators, again, I'm not saying Needy specifically, crash out and reply to every single comment that they think has the wrong narrative with what their right narrative is, in quotes. So I completely get it. It's extremely frustrating to have what you believe to be the correct account of events and see misinformation spread online. And you know what? There's nothing you can do. It sucks. There's nothing that you can do. All you can do is make a post on your end, clearing up the air on your side, which Needy did on their social media, right? I know I fucked up. Here is the resolution. I'm trying to contact people. And there will always be people who don't see it, don't believe it, don't want to believe it, etc. Right? But that's just how it is if you get canceled on the internet, right? So it is extremely frustrating, and it's a very, very emotional thing to go through. You feel like the entire world is against you, and I completely understand that. And Needy also expressed frustrations in that people that they've had good experiences with in the past, you know, people who positively experienced their course, whatever, that those people were no longer, like, were silent. And because they're being attacked. And honestly, I think while it can be frustrating if you are the person who's being canceled, to have people that you consider friends or people that you know you've had good experiences with because of that. That's at least what they told you. So either they lied to you or they had good experiences with you and they stayed silent. Well, again, and Needy acknowledged this too. It's because everybody associated with you will get attacked for coming up and talking about you. So as a result, they're going to stay silent. And I am all for everybody protecting their peace. So if you need to just keep your mouth shut to protect your own peace, that's totally okay. So going on about the truth stuff that I was talking about, so Needy always talks about how much good she does with giveaways, etc. And some people view this as a manipulation tactic, which I personally think it definitely can be, right? Depending on how it's implemented. But I actually personally think that Needy lacks the understanding that things aren't strictly black and white. So yes, it is extremely true that Needy has done a lot of good in the VTubing community. Needy has given away a lot of stuff, given away a lot of art, taken money out of her own pocket for people in the community. That is a very, very true thing. But it's also true that she's made a bunch of missteps in the process of just being on the internet, you know, and we're human. Everybody makes mistakes. It's true that she's made mistakes too. For many of the wrongs in the past, she's actively worked towards making amends and resolving it with the affected party. That's true. But it's also true that the events did happen. So there was a point in time where you have impacted, hurt, or wounded another individual in some way. It seems like, to me, that Needy views things in a very linear thought process, where it's like, oh, I fucked up, I made a mistake. We all do, right? And then I fixed it. And then, oh, because I fixed it, it's completely resolved. Like a homework assignment, they docked a point off, and then your professor was like, oh, if you, submit me extra credit, I'll take that docked point off, and we'll pretend it never happened. That doesn't work like that in the real world, because you can't just kind of, completely undo it with a resolution. The resolution puts a band-aid on the problem and fixes the problem, but there's still gonna be a scar that will be left from the effects of it happening. So back to the good and bad thing, I feel like Needy thinks that all of the good that she does, PEMDAS cancels out the missteps that she's made. Also, I personally think the idea of being a good person or a bad person is a very black and white line of thinking, which I personally disagree with. So, as humans, we are complex and multi-layered creatures. You can be a good friend, but somebody who's challenging to be in a relationship with. You can be a tidy roommate, and then somebody who also causes inconveniences because you're always late. So would that person be a good roommate or a bad roommate? It's neither, because again, it's not black and white like this. Like myself, I think I treat my partner very well. I also inconvenience him because I'm always late and I stay up really late. So am I a good partner or a bad partner? My cat is such a cute little baby, but also he screams at eardrum breaking volumes all throughout the night. So does that make him a good cat or a bad cat? Trick question. He's still a good cat. But honestly, that's just how it is. We as humans are morally great creatures, and I feel like if you constantly strive to fit into the good box, or you stress yourself out to the nines when people don't think you are a good person, then it will only honestly ruin your mental health over the long run and your sense of identity. And then going into the other point, there are a lot of people who simply cannot stand being disliked. And I feel like Needy does fall into this category somewhat. And honestly, in the past, I used to be like too. And in the past, I used to be like that too, honestly, where I would be like, well, all I do is like educational content, teaching people, like, why do people not like me? I'm a good person, so therefore I should be liked. That was my linear thought process when I was like, I don't know, 20. And you know what? You cannot make everyone like you. People don't like me for my face, my voice, the way I talk, my gender. My thoughts on this whole scenario, do I think that Needy is a good intention individual or not? Like I was just saying with good and bad, right? I think Needy has done things with good intentions. Do I think there were things that were done with some malicious intent snuck in there? I do think so too, you know, because I think you can only play the ignorance card so far. And while, again, I fully believe there are definitely cases where there are misunderstandings, where maybe she just didn't realize that this was wrong, etc. There's been a bunch of stuff that's happened to where we can't cut you that much slack, you know? Like, I always try to give benefit of doubt because, again, I try to empathize with the person when I can. And I also, like I said about my younger experience, have been the type of person to take things extremely literally. So if you say, I can, I just think I can, you know? I wouldn't read between the lines because it just was not in my nature to do that. But you gotta train yourself to do that. And I think at this point, you should know better. You should know better because you've been doing this for a while. Like you've been doing the art stuff for a minute now. But again, I personally do think getting off the creator sphere of the internet for her would be really good for her mental health. But my final thoughts, I hope that Needy can become a better person, right? With everybody that I ever talk about on my channel, I never hope they stay that way, right? I do hope that they can actively become a better person. And I always view that in most things, there's room for forgiveness. Again, I am not the person that should be offering this forgiveness because I am not the affected party. But I do think that with most things, you can come back from it. With very few exceptions, like, you know, they're actively working on resolving all the issues. They've refunded like $8,000, which is a great step forward. And I do have to give them credit for that because this is a lot better than what I've seen a lot of other people do. It might sound like at this ending, I'm like giving her too much credit, etc. Maybe I'm just a little jaded because I've covered a lot of scenarios of like art scammers, whatever, Neon Beat, who just pisses off with like 50K of your money and does nothing and is just gone. So at least she is refunding people if you're charging her back. At least she's giving the money back. Again, it doesn't negate the fact that she did do the behavior, but handing out reparations and resolving the issues as they come up is definitely a big step forward, which I do really want to appreciate. Because again, I've seen so many people piss off, fake their death, lie, posting post from a fake brother talking about how they died, and then poof, they're back again, right? So we've seen a lot. At least Needy is resolving it. But finally, at the end, my heart truly goes out to everybody that's affected. Your feelings are completely valid in feeling the way you feel. She's done a bunch of shit. I will have everybody that's affected linked down below in the comment section, and if there's new stuff that comes up, like new people posting about it, I'm not going to add it to this video anymore because I'm traveling and I don't think I can do any new pieces that come out justice with the coverage of it, which is I definitely don't want to like fuck it up. So I'll have everything linked down below in the comment section. Again, I truly apologize for how scuffed the format is because I really did want to cover this while it was coming out. The way I view things, I always try to err on like a positive world thinking. That's just how I think in general. It may not look like it, but I do. Some people might be like, well, you're just trying to make money by like getting on it fast. I just do think that when situations like this come out, it does help to have the information of things and how it happened consolidated into one nice looking thing where some people can just sit down and listen to it instead of random snippets falling across your Twitter feed and you have no idea what the full picture is. I'm not saying I know the objective truth of what happened, right? This is what people have said. This is what Needy has said. Okay. This is my interpretation of it. But I do think that when things like this come out, it is beneficial to have a timeline of everything early. So that's why I'm recording it like this. If in the future you would like me to wait until I get back so I can get onto my computer setup and record it better, but it just might be like a month later than when it actually happens, let me know in the comment section below too, because I want to make these videos better for you guys. But please check out everybody I have linked down below. Show them a lot of love, okay? Because there's a lot of artists affected in this, and I definitely want all the artists to experience a bunch of love, and creators as well, right? So yeah, and with that, I hope you guys like this video, and I hope to see you guys in another one. Peace.